Your journey starts here. XRP Radio.
Yo, listen up, all you people out there. I like to listen to XRP Radio and do some current talk, yeah. That's right, XRP Radio.
You're listening to XRP Radio. Believe it or not, we are here on the radio at the correct time, which is astonishing for us over the past couple of weeks for sure. But we are luckily joined by the legend, the man of his own mealtime himself, Craig Allen Hecht.
Hello, XRP. How's everybody doing today?
Me specifically, a little bit warm, but good. Good. It's a nice day outside. We can't complain too much. What about you, ALC? ALC's here and in the background. Craig asks, how are we, XRP?
I mean, we're okay except for that whole we don't have Diablo bullshit.
Well, to be fair, it hasn't shown up yet. I'm still waiting for the Amazon guy. But
I think you've got a... I think ALC is over there putting curses and hexes on that delivery.
Well, wait till I get Final Fantasy 16. That'll be a whole nother...
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily, that's not due for another few days.
Correct. Yep.
Luckily.
No, today I get, I get Diablo, John Wick 4, and the Mario movie. So it's going to be a good day.
How do you...
Huh?
I have loads of games, and I just can't complete that many games.
Well, the way my son describes it, he calls them all shelf warmers.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be there. It's just a matter of when I get around to playing with them, you know. I know I've got them.
I like that style. I like that style. Can I have some more shelf warmers? Oh, okay, I've been stared at. Right.
Ooh, shelf warmers.
That's what Craig calls like games that he hasn't
not
got
going to
around
play
to
for
playing
5.
yet.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
Oh, that's fine. See, you're in good shape.
Diablo.
As long as we get Diablo.
I'll run it over to you.
Right. So for those that don't know that are joining us here live on XRP Radio and our various social broadcasts, we are not just here to blather about the fact that certain lucky sod is just he's about to get a rather good game delivery, but it is to celebrate the end of an era somewhat, which is now I've said that live on air, it's suddenly a bit more emotional than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I feel that. I got the exact same problem because I was so busy getting the last song ready to go that it really didn't hit me until I got done with it, and I go, wait a minute, there's no more of this anymore. So it's kind of because I've been doing this since 2014. You know, it's quite a while.
It is quite a while. It is a massive while, and even like I find strange because you're sitting there telling me like everything, but like we've been there with you pretty much every step of the way, especially every musical step of the way.
Yep.
We had everything, if not first, then swiftly, and we've seen every progression from the very, very first thing through changes, through losses, through trying to figure out where we were going to be, and now here after figuring that out with I guess what was figured out. Which is just incredibly emotional. However, and to explain that to people who have never met me or Craig before in their lives, Craig Allen Hecht is one half of the Third Bridge, and we'll learn more of that story as we go through the night. But today is the day where the final Third Bridge track to be released is going to be released. And that is both incredibly exciting and like, you know, well done, the project's finished, and also like, oh no, the project's finished.
I know, right? I got to move on to something else. Well, I always seem to have something else, you know, to go to, but yeah, this is a real sense of closure here. It's kind of a sad moment, but boy, we made a lot of great songs and had a great time doing it too. So I have nothing to, you know, I sure don't regret any of it. It was just a great time.
We had a great time listening, and still will have a great time listening, and that's the important thing. It may be it may be the final song release, but it's definitely not the final time that any Third Bridge music is going to be listened to or played to other people, which is incredibly important. However, on the way there, we're gonna start taking a look at a bit of a history of some of. So we're not just doing the history of the Third Bridge. But a bit of a history of what some of Craig's favourite tracks here on XRP have been over the years. Yep. And also sneaking in something new. We are fully doing the something old, something new, something borrowed, something... Well, we're missing on the blue. But I'm sure the conversation will go that way at some point, because this is XRP Radio after all.
Well, there you go.
So as we warm some people up, I'll get some of that Live Now promo out there whilst we're doing it. As I just mentioned, I did think we'd start off with some of your XRP favourites before we what's the word for it? Barrage everyone with the Third Bridge for an hour. So full curveball, last minute. Let's see if I can pull up a track quick enough. Okay. If you was to say, let's talk like back in the day, your oldest favourite. If that works, if you can think up it, what would your oldest favourite track on XRP be?
Down a Road by Turf Boy.
What? That was quick.
I've been listening for a while.
You have been listening for a while. Oh, I'm having troubles now. Because it's down our road, not down the road. There we go.
Road.
That's my fault. So yeah, what I mean, I'm presuming you probably got wind of this early days, probably from the early days of the Bog Show, I'm presuming.
I first heard this back when the Bogman had his show, back when I was working nights at the school, and I was the nighttime janitor. I was the guy who cleaned the whole thing up, so I was all by myself at night. And when I had my lunch break, well, my supper break actually, I listened to the Bogman, and he used to play this thing all the time, and that probably one of my earliest memories of XRP music, actually. But yeah, great tune, great melody, really good stuff.
That is a wonderful memory, not just for the sharing of it, but the hilarity of the fact that if any radio show on the planet shouldn't be played in a school, that's probably one of them.
Well, it was on my computer, but I digress.
Okay, here we go. Let's have some Down a Road from Turf Boy. For all you people out there, this is and we have had a few quiet days on XRP Radio because of festival season and people going out, but this is a big one for me. So if you want to boost us up a little bit, give those likes, shares, comments on the statuses as you see them, and just suggest to other people that like music, because I expect out of all the interviews that I've done over especially recent years, this is possibly going to be the nicest, most interesting and most fun for a while. So get in that mood. I'm speaking your praises, so you got to live up to it, to be honest. You have got all those plans ready. You've got your poem ready to recite later, yeah?
Oh, sure. there's a poem? I didn't get the memo. It didn't get to my people.
I do that to Cat all the time. Here we go. This is Down the Road from Turf Boy.
Oh, man.
So, is that loud enough, too loud? Perfect.
Put her down just a little bit.
Right there?
Perfect. Yep. That works. Poem, huh? Okay.
I was just messing around. But if you manage to pull one out, in this shorter time, I'll be impressed.
There was a man named Sid. I'll let you imagine the rest of it.
I can imagine the variety of different thoughts that go there.
I'll let that go. Oh man. So does Turf Boy still exist this far, you know?
Yes, they are. In fact, they played with Pod Racer and they played with Johnny Horn.
Wow.
Yeah, they came over to the UK and did a gig with, I think it was Johnny Horn. But yeah, they're one of those bands that seem to have just they had their niche, they were going well. So they could kind of forget about social media.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
But saying that, they played. I'm just checking it now. They played yesterday at. Was it yesterday? No. They are going to be playing on the 23rd of June at Fred Zeppelin's, which is quite a big venue over in there. So yeah, they seem quite active, and they're coming out with new music apparently, just as a quick score. So happy days.
Yeah, well, good for them. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's good to hit. It's good to. Sometimes I think of bands that are that long ago, and because the trend is that they're no longer playing, I just kind of automatically think that. So it's good to go back to them.
Right.
Here we go. Down the road from Turf Boy, the question that I asked Craig was, what is his earliest favourite piece of music from XRP Radio? And that one is quite old. I mean, we can say it's at least 9 years old, if not older. 9 years old to XRP anyway. But yeah, in a quick look, we just find out that they're still a going concern. They'll be playing the 23rd of July at the 23rd of June, sorry, at Punk Night at Fred Zeppelin's over in Cork in Ireland. So they're doing things. They're bringing out good music. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Well, we've got our first comment, and in reply to me saying our oldest piece of music, a certain Hecht popped up and says, because Craig is old.
Now, number one, who gave her the link to get in here? Probably my fault. I probably shouldn't have shared this on Facebook. Yeah. Dang it, anyway. Well, now I got to be careful. Man.
Oh, dear.
Well, I was going to have a whole section talking about her. I guess I got to change that now. Darn it.
Well, while she's watching, you could do something to put her off carrying on now. Should we talk about the in-depths of how to rewire a guitar?
That might get it. No, actually buying new guitars. That would
guitars.
That would get her off pretty quick. Yeah. I have to go do something else.
Oh, excellent. Right, what was I going to do now? Let's have a few more tracks. We've got people slowly jumping in our chat box now. So a quick shout out to Simo, Cass, Jay from Second Cities, Mish, James Doyle, and Nightwolf. As one of the people in our chat box is on your favourites list, as it were.
Yes.
And also the fact that, unbeknownst to him, Craig messaged me just before the show saying he intended to turn up with a skull mask on.
Yep.
So if that's any indication of who we might be playing next, I'm just going to let Craig say who it is and why you like him.
Okay, this is going to be Met Her in a Vape Shop by my buddy Miss Happenings, who he's probably not going to want to have me listen to me telling him all this, but fantastic musician, great sense of composition, great keyboard work. I just love his stuff. He does a lot more like a synth pop, punk poppy thing than what I do, but man, great sense of humor in the lyrics, and a swell guy to boot. But yeah, that's my song I picked.
Yeah, shame about his personality, mind, but no, I'm joking.
What do you do, huh?
Here we go then, Mirror in a Vape Shop. Again, I need to press some buttons still. I'm still catching up with this whole system that I use. It would really help me if any of you guys out there want to share, like, comment on statuses, and bring some of your friends in whilst I'm clicking all these buttons. Also, as we come up later in the show, start thinking up a few questions, because I'm sure Craig will take them when we get into the depths of the history and the finale. Oh, it's sounding even more sad the more I say it, of the third bridge. It's not the finale, but the final song, should I say.
Right.
Here we go. Vape Shop, Mish.
Oh, man.
Well, I have just stopped smoking. Started on the vape
It's my fault. I forgot to enable the side video, which is not on that website. Jake really needs to give me that.
I was frequently at this vape shop. I had been in a few times, but now I'm going to tell you about this one time. I met her in a vape shop. I met her in a vape shop. She grabbed a hold of the big smock. I met her in a vape shop.
I did like the skull mask idea.
It was the 9 o'clock opening.
The only thing, oh my, like I've spoken to Mish before, like without the mask. I have seen this as not to give too much away, but he looks exactly the same as the mask.
Okay.
But like it's so hard to hear him, especially when he's got he tries to hide his mouth as well, so he's got like a scarf underneath the mask. So hard to hear what he's saying.
I kept telling him, put the mask on backwards. You sound the same way either way. You know? That was great when he was on how of you guys were trying to tear the mouth open so you could hear him better. That was great. Oh, man. I know I had to brush up on my third grade history myself here. It's like, wow. You know?
I'm interested because I know it's not the first time we've done this, but like, especially with the amount of stuff that you've done, I'm quite looking to have more of a niche chat with you, like more just the first. I know we will talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes from my side, like you do that much stuff, it's almost confusing to place it all in a timeline. Like I was sitting down listening through the tracks, and the only reason why I could place anything is because I had to keep going to the date uploaded section so I could figure out when. And then I'm like, oh yeah. Sorry.
If I'm being truthful, I have to do the exact same thing. I mean, I have to look at my my document section on my PC and actually see what date I actually mastered everything. That's how I keep track of what thing was.
Oh no, sorry. I was going to cut you off too early. Sorry, I was going to cut you off. You could have carried on speaking, but now we do only have 10 seconds.
That's all right. I got nowhere to go.
Still here with me and Craig and ALC in the background. This is XRP Radio. It's a tag show, but it's a very special tag show. And this isn't like I don't want to just sound like I'm playing this, but Craig and I have not. It's not just been a musician and XRP Radio, but we've been genuine friends for the best part of the time that he's known XRP Radio. And plausibly, I can't remember initially, but I believe you listened a couple of times before you submitted music. So, in some ways, plausibly before.
Well, the thing is, see, Scott was the social media guy.
He was.
You know, that was his deal. I mean, he had us out there on Twitter initially. He was all over tweeting everybody, you know, and he got a real, what's the word I want, community of musicians that he was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was even aware of that side. I was pretty much more, I was the guy in the studio, you know, I was the guy writing stuff a lot of times. You know, and brainstorm things. He was the guy in charge of getting the word out. You know, I mean, you have to remember back then in 2014, you know, there was no Spotify, there was none of that stuff. You know, I mean, XRP was the first station to pick us up. You know, and then that was followed by, I believe, a guy named Rich Mahogany out of the Naughtywood show out of Boston.
Naughtywood, who we worked with quite closely, yeah.
Yeah, he gave us some airplay as well. He did a 1 hour special on us, as a matter of fact. And which just blew our minds because we were just two guys essentially just making music to have fun, you know, down in the basement studio, you know, and to get that kind of exposure at the time, that was really an honor and quite unexpected, you know, but really appreciated, you know, but yeah, that's way back there. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Mate, I remember. I mean, it's no surprise for our interviews. We have a habit of blathering on.
We do.
Which is perfectly fine. And this is, you know, this is why, as always, I don't script an interview with you specifically, because there's too much stuff to say, and the worst thing is, like, there is no point. I remember the first interview that I did where I had a kind of bit of a list going, but at no point could I go back to this because I couldn't. There's no way I could cut you off. We may not say everything that we want to say, but we'll say a whole lot of stuff that needs saying, which is what I love. We are going to get more and more deep into the third bridge, and it is going to get very deep. But what I would say to anyone out there again is, you know, this is a big thing for XRP as well. So spread the word, share the love, and stay tuned because you're about to hear a hell of a story, and the end of an era, which is you're literally going to hear in with a few abridgments, shall we say, from the start to the end of the third bridge, which is Whew.
Oh, come on now. I don't want you to start cracking before I do.
I think we'll have another couple of your favourites. Get us up to the top of the hour, and then we'll go for it, shall we?
Sure, cool. Let's do
Wicked.
it.
Okay then. If I was to say what is, we've done old, so let's go brand new. What is the most recent track that you can think of that you've gone, oh hello, that is something special?
Boy, oh boy. Now you're putting me on the spot.
I only put people on the spot.
You know, because I came in with a list of stuff that was older stuff that I liked over the years, you know. Brand new, huh? Man. What was that track by Jet Boy someone? Brand new release. This came out this past week. Jet Boy. If memory serves me.
Jet Boy isn't ringing a bell.
Really?
Jet Boy? Track by Jet Boy? You saying it's recent?
Yeah, like last week.
That's all we
Jet
got.
Boy something. See, he got me stumped now. Wanting brand new stuff.
I shouldn't have said anything, but you know.
I know, you should have left with what I had.
No, not Turf Boy. That
Not
was
Turf Boy.
the chart show.
Yeah.
So it wasn't in the chart show. I'm just looking but back to see if I can find anything
That's okay.
that
We can
pops
pivot.
up. Jet Boy. What looks like Jet Boy? I've got the Catbox Room Boys, but I'm pretty sure you don't mean them.
No, I heard that. That was interesting. Well,
Really...
should I pivot?
Yeah, let's pivot for now, and we might find it.
What's the newest Kilburn?
Ooh, good choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think their newest one is still The Rain.
Okay.
But that is still quite recent.
Great track, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Currently smashing about in the charts. I think they're still in the top 10. But then again, it is a few days after Sunday, and that could have all changed.
Right.
But an excellent band.
Yep.
Nonetheless. Interesting thing about Kilburn is the production-wise, when they record their band, not all of the time, but most of the time, they do it multi-track, but they play as a live band, so it's like a live studio recording is the main part of the final product that we get.
Really?
Well, yeah, cool. So if you take a look at some of their videos and their making of videos and music videos, it's them all in this one room, and they've kind of jerry-rigged a little vocal booth on one side, but everyone is live playing into the studio, which is quite cool, I thought.
That is neat, yeah. Get that interaction that way.
Yeah, that's why I was talking to them about it, and they're saying that's like they realise that you get more dynamics and attitude out of the playing style. So it might be a little bit looser. Not that you can say that with Kilburn because they seem to play everything on the money, but especially with the vocals and some of the attitude that's put behind the guitar. They say it's, you know, they feel it sounds way better live when you do it as a group rather than trying to anticipate each other's accents. I say they are quite right.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. Here we go. So now you can have a listen to what we were blathering on about whilst we had to do a little pivot there. This is The Rain from Kilburn. Okay, let's have a look. There we go. It's coming in now. And I'm glad it's a few of...
Let me see who we got here.
the good faces. What surprised me is, so no, Jamie from Second Cities.
I see he's in the chat. Yeah.
He popped up on me on Messenger and goes, "Nah, it's not the last Craig song, is it?"
Oh,
And I was
God,
like,
no.
"Yeah," and I was like, "No." Then he's like, "But it's the last Third Bridge," and I'm like, "No, he's gonna do other stuff." And he's like, "But still, no more Third Bridge." Like he, out of anyone, like I know Jay's a regular listener, but I wasn't expecting that from him out of other people. You know what I mean? Like he loves your music.
I have to admit, I totally agree. I wouldn't think that they would really be digging what we were doing. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did he pop up and say? He wasn't on Messenger, so sorry.
No, I've got him in the chat here.
I think it was on a comment on something.
Yeah.
That he said, you know, some true XRP history there and stuff.
Yeah. It's surprising. A lot of people really like Third Bridge that you wouldn't think would. And it kind of really gets me. You know. Oh, I did wear an appropriate shirt. Got my Third Bridge shirt today. CTV, baby.
I feel like I need one of those. They're any going?
I'm working on that.
Oh yeah, that's how Spike Direction Effect recorded as well. I have to say, I think I always pronounce his name wrong. I think it's Joel or Jewel. It's spelt strange, but his vocals have always been so impressive to me.
No, this is so clean. The acoustics are so nice. The clean guitar is recorded impeccably. I mean, it's just great. Yeah, there are times I really miss having that band dynamic. You know, it's tough to be a solo guy. You know,
I know it's like, you know, super, you know, you've got a lot on, but if you absolutely no considerations at all, like if it happened, if the right thing happened, would you sit in a band and play?
Play live again? Yeah. I've said this before online, that one of the reasons I did for type and playing live was I was getting tendonitis in my fretting hand.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd be in the club, you know, in front of a whole bunch of people, sometimes with a guitar solo, and my hand would lock up like this. And it was like, okay, well, you can do anything with it, you know. So, but back then we were playing a lot too, you know, so it really got hammered. You know, now that I don't play as much in the studio, but, you know, but yeah, I take a swing at playing live again, sure, you bet. I mean, that is kind of one of the frustrating things. I'm never going to hear my songs performed live. and it bothers me just that little bit. You know, I mean, it would be great.
Have you never been tempted by going for a properly set up video live performance?
Nope. Never dawned on me. You know, and you've pretty much seen how I operate. Write a song, record it, on to the next one, on to the next one. That's my workflow. You know, I mean, videos and stuff, that would be really cool, but I'd have to find the right people to do them. I mean, I'm kind of landlocked here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm having fun. There you go.
I think overall, like, yeah, that's the important thing with music. If you're not enjoying doing it, then, you know, there is 0 point.
Yeah. I'm trying to get this screen glare out of my glasses. Okay.
I'm struggling.
Oh, well. I'll be like this in person.
There's a problem because cameras are on screens. As soon as you look at me and I look at you, there we go.
Yeah, if I'm looking there, then I'm locked in. Otherwise, I'm looking at you on the display out here. Oh, well. Yeah, all this stuff is just top notch.
You can't. I mean, I've seen some of their videos of their production sessions, and when they first sent me a video, just for looks, and you went into a proper studio, didn't you? Kind of thing. I mean, it is a decent studio, don't get me wrong, but here we go. Sorry. The Rain from Kilburn here on XRP Radio. Usually about this time, I start saying like half amusing quips like, and Craig's still here, we haven't managed to get rid of him. But if we're being entirely honest, after the 6, 7, 8 possible interviews that we've done all over the years, not all with me, I already know we're not getting rid of him. There is nothing that we can do to put this man off XRP. Oh dear. But luckily, he's got good music taste.
Try. You know, I'm kind of like a bad habit. You can't shake me.
You keep coming back at least, anyway, and that's.
I do.
That's the one thing, you know. The one thing that I always know is no matter how the world changes and Spotify takes over the world and AI people make everyone's job useless, I will still be here DJing to Craig.
And I will try to be here for as long as I possibly can. You know. No, you know, there are certain things that are, you know, with certainties in the world, death, taxes, and XRP. You can use that as a promo if you want.
I think I might have to go back into the video after that.
I'd wear that shirt, boy.
Okay, we need a new T-shirt made, Kat.
Yep. There's three things certain in the world: death, taxes, and XRP.
Did you hear that?
Get that?
There's 3 things certain in the world: death, taxes, and XRP.
That's not bad.
We did design one of our other ones too.
You have designed one of ours.
I did.
You're the only external XRP shirt designer, actually, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Am I really?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. I'm in rare company then.
I know. It's bad, really, isn't it?
Give him coupons.
Oh, that's okay.
I wrote her a theme song too, so there you go.
It's like, where's my free shirt? He wrote you a theme tune.
But it was a country song though, so Tiz wouldn't have liked it. It was country.
Oh yeah, I know that theme tune. Yeah. Okay then. Yeah, you have to pay me now.
I figured. Oh,
now,
man.
I mean, I am moderately surprised actually, because you gave me a little pre list of like some of your favorite tracks.
Yeah.
And I was expecting some, like, you know, I thought you were going to wind me up. You've been very nice, actually. There's no country in there.
No. Well, you know, I mean, to be honest, I probably should spend more time listening, you know, and I should really rectify that. You know, I'm more on recording stuff than I'm putting stuff up. And I always I never miss tag.
That's fine.
And
we're here 24/7. Humans should not listen to XRP 24/7, even if they had randomly had the physical ability to listen to radio for 24/7, 24 hours a day. The XRP is the one that is probably going to end them in a mental asylum pretty swiftly.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that, but okay.
I've been there. No, we're apparently good for some people's mental health, but
yeah.
I mean, this isn't like a doctor's advice. Listen to XRP radio and you'll be happier.
Yes, 8 out of 10 doctors recommend XRP. There you go. Those other 2, questionable. Yeah. Oh man.
Affiliates, but I'm happy that Craig said it. So, you know, if you believe Craig, that's fine. Go for it.
You should believe me. I'm an honest guy. Have I ever lied to you guys before? As far as you know?
As far as we know. I don't know.
Really?
And I probably don't want to.
The cat shot me the look. Across the internet, she lets me have it. Oh, man.
The thing is, Kat's the kind of woman that thinks that every time we're laughing, we're just talking about her.
Oh, no. I have no problem just talking to her directly. It's fine.
Yeah, it's because she's over there. Can we get your headphones? Will they stretch that far? There you go.
Well, now she can actually hear what we're saying about her.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Don't say that.
Oh, shh. There she is. What?
Hi,
Cat.
Hi, Cat. She'd have no sound.
There you go. What are you saying wrong, Craig?
Well,
your hair isn't down today. Fish will be upset.
He already yelled at me.
Oh well, there you go. I don't have to say anything. Yes.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought as we've done one person, and we've had a wee word, and it is in the new subs list from Second Cities. Have you heard the brand new Second Cities track yet?
Honestly, I have not. I would love to.
It's rather good, and not to make this whole thing, this whole interview, this whole show super emotional. It does have quite the emotional meaning behind it. So it's called Misery, but it's without any vowels. They've done that thing where they get the vowels out of the word. So it's misery, but it's Misery. And it's a song dedicated to fans' memories of people that they've loved and lost. A celebration of life, and a song that delicately approaches grief from the viewpoint of a son losing their dad as a mid-teen. They hope the song helps anyone who listens celebrate the memory of someone that they lost, which I thought was quite nice.
Yeah.
And I would say, I've heard it a couple of times now, and I would say that as Second Cities, they tend to be quite loud and shouty.
Yes.
This still has that vibe, but I think it's kind of stepped back a little bit, and it is delivered in a very positive and happy manner for such a sad song.
Great.
So here we go. This is the brand new one, brand spankers new from Second Cities, and it's called Misery.
Don't save your tears for me. I'm just a kid who don't exactly get what grief is. At 15 it's a lot to deal with. Won't feel it till I'm 20. Now it begins to take a toll.
I'm going to grab myself a drink. Maybe there's a cake there. I'm actually quite happy with that because I had to go and get a drink, so I left Craig able to listen to the entirety of that without me blathering on, which I sometimes have a habit of doing.
What a great song, man. Talk about dynamics, from soft to heavy and everything, and good vocal performance. Great stuff. Those guys, they just get better and better. I mean, when I first heard them, they were more like a punky band type thing, and man, their writing and ability has really progressed. It's great to see.
One of the reasons why I really wanted to play them here on you, to you, was because I feel like they're a band that have, though genre-wise and actual music creation-wise, are obviously very different to yourself. Their general vibe to us as DJs. So one of the things that we all do as DJs is we sit and we see people progress from the start to the end of their career. Now, one thing is we are literally doing that very physically and obviously with the Third Bridge right now.
Oh, yeah.
But Second Cities, we got their first track in. They tend to give all of their tracks to us first, just like you. We play them here and we tend to, there's a few times where they go elsewhere because we're not on the ball, don't get me wrong. But we tend to, play them here first. We tend to play early on occasion, not so much now. They're all big and signed to bespoke media PR, but you know. So we've really seen that's the similar progression over, and they're still early days in comparison to the Third Bridge, and I'm not expecting Second Cities to be releasing their final track anytime soon. But yeah, it was nice to see your opinion on that progression up to a similar progression of yours. And I find, because my intention there was to kind of steer the conversation into that, but you said it off your own back. You just said, I've seen them from their first track and how they've progressed and they go from better to better. So it was just so wonderful to hear what I wanted to get out of that conversation that I was going to manhandle, and you just naturally said it, of a band that, again, I say has a similar vibe in how we have perceived them as DJs, which is really cool.
Yeah. No, I haven't been around XRP as long as I have. I've really seen a lot of people, progress, like we say. Another example to me is Shippa 63. My gosh, when he first came out, to me it was like, remember a band called The Jam? They were kind of like this proto punk, kind of based on the early Who. He was that kind of thing, but boy, his style has been all over the place now. Synthesizer stuff and more, synth poppy stuff. But he'll go back to the grunge too. I mean, he has grown leaps and bounds too. I mean, I think that's one of the marks of a good musician. If you can progress and change your style, adapt to things, and just kind of keep growing exponentially. I mean, man, that says a lot for an artist. Shippa's another one of those guys.
Yeah, Shipper definitely, and we would definitely play a track by him in 1 second if there's one that you can brain up, because you give me a little list, but Shipper was on the list, but not with a track.
I didn't have a track. I know he has a brand new one out, or a newer one out. Just released
only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that'd be the one I'd be thinking of.
Excellent. I would say, like, again with Shipper and somewhat with Second Cities as well, and all these musicians of the similar progressive vibe, it is nice to see, as you mentioned, they'll progress in sound, but they'll still have their roots of where, like with Shipper, he's got that grungy jam sound. With Second Cities, even though in that track, you must admit it's probably the most pop alternative mainstream sounding that they've been.
Oh yeah.
You still know it's Second Cities. You can hear them in it.
I don't know if Second Cities would appreciate me using this word, but I like the word maturity.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they've grown up, man. I mean, you can tell. I mean, that's just, you start your band out, you're kind of naive. You're going to change the world with rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. But then you start to look at stuff more socially. I think you think more about the bigger picture, and you start writing stuff that speaks to that sometimes. And I think that's what that track was, and that's really cool to see. So just my take.
I agree. And agreeing with you and listening to you. The fear in my face is because Shipper annoyingly uses that umlaut above the I, which
I
makes
know.
it increasingly difficult to find.
It's like Blue Oyster Cult.
However, yeah, his latest track is called Slay.
Yes.
He's gone down the kind of poppy route this time, more poppy electro-y
Right.
route than before. This came out just towards the end of March, I believe. And unfortunately, I was in the middle of doing a million things, so it was one of those tracks that kind of slipped us by in the new submission stuff, and didn't get as many plays as it should have probably. So good choice, Craig.
Thank you.
Here we go. This is Slay from Shipper. In the next few minutes, we'll be lining up, and we are going to get a lot more third Bridgie. I just wanted to ensure that all you people joined us, because I'm really excited about it tonight. Like, this is the biggest interview, in my personal opinion, that I have done in my life. So that's cool. Anyway, back you didn't need that. Shipper 63 is what you wanted. Slay. I am digressing to the max today.
You sure are, boy. Hey, listen to that sequencing track. That's so cool.
You can tell recently he's definitely been influenced by that kind of this 80s read.
You know, the problem for me is that, you know, like 80s and 90s pop music, I kind of missed all that stuff because I was listening to heavy metal then. Like the Pet Mode and all that kind of, I went like that. Kind of like the most, I got into emo for a little bit, like My Bloody Valentine, I got that for a bit. But the rest of it, yeah, I was listening to Prague. You know, I was doing Rush and stuff like that.
I was a weird kid in that period of time where people are either getting into, you know, Nirvana, Metallica and whatever, or they're getting into like Britney Spears, Beyonce and whatever. I was listening to Parliament, the Ohio Players, Jackal Astoria.
Collins, man.
Yeah, man. Jackal Astoria, Marcus Miller, so like. Now I've come this side and I'm seeing a lot of kind of early 90s, late 80s revival stuff. To me, it's quite refreshing because I never had that bit in the first place, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's funny, the other night, Tommy and I were sitting up on YouTube and they had a bunch of song quiz videos and it was like, name these popular songs from the 90s? I got nothing. I don't know who these people are, you know, I mean, you want to talk about, you know, weather reports or Albiniola or Return to Forever or Chick Corea, you know, yeah, we'll talk that stuff for his house and all, you know.
Yeah, pretty funny.
No, it's so funny, you know, I was going to talk about Chip changing his song constantly, and I thought to myself, I guess I'm guilty as charged, because I do the same thing, I suppose, you know.
I mean, I guess Shipper is someone that kind of proves to you that you can do all your things under one label if you want to.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think, like, I know you have your crisis of identity every now and then, and like, should I knock all this on the head? Should I just do something with it? But honestly, I think alongside the actual music creation, I think the pageantry that you put behind it is also part of it, and I think that's also something that you enjoy just as much as making the music that create the story behind not just the tracks but the people who play the tracks.
Right.
You know, in some ways, what you've done is created lots of different versions of the Gorillaz.
Oh, sure. Exactly
which is cool, you know.
I didn't set out to do that. It was kind of morphed into that, really. I wish I kind of listened to Bob, man. He's upset just taking his funk track.
Sorry, say again.
I just saw in the chat box that the Bob man just I didn't take any funk. Oh well. What, no funk tuner you played?
Oh no, F-U, I think you mean, he's on about, yeah. Oh, shit, lost the track.
Oops.
Hello, we are professional radio presenters and guests.
Stands for professional, kids. I've always said that.
Someone has to. That's Slay from Shipper 63, defo diving into the kind of late 80s, 90s synthy vibes there for Shipper. But You know what? He always tends to use that similar effect on his voice, no matter what track he's doing.
He does.
Have you noticed that? It's very
Yeah.
similar sounding voice.
Yes, all the time. Yep. There's some people that kind of like for me, like a signature sound. For him, it's the vocals. For me, not to change the subject too much, Sharp V is the snare drum sound. I always know Sharp V because of that snare. It's cool. It's very prominent. The tone is really kind of different. I like that too.
I have heard on the grapevine that there is new Sharp V on the horizon. Would you believe?
I have heard the same thing. Yep.
Which is, after such a long hiatus, is incredibly exciting.
Yeah. Those guys go back as far as we do.
Yeah, they do. I mean, let's put this into context. They started uploading back in 2015. That's with our new site, because you and Sharp V precede this version of XRP. You're from our old version of XRP.
The old database.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I can tell you that at one point I think we had 3 songs in the top 20.
I believe you did.
Back in like 2014 or 15 or something.
I think it might have been even earlier than that, to be fair.
It might have been, yeah. I remember that.
But yeah, and then we hadn't heard anything off them since 2017. And this very much snuck by everybody. And I know it did, because I'm pretty sure you don't even know. In May of this year, they actually released a track called How Did This All End, which was a little sneaky insight into what is possibly going to be coming up.
Now, I can tell you this. I just saw that track. I was doing some research before I got on air to see what I was going to pick, and I was on the Reverb page, and I saw said track. Oh, well, look at this, will you? And I gave it a spin. I go, this is really cool. So maybe I'll suggest that to Tiz when I see him.
Well, I mean, it looks like everything just fell perfectly into place there. I promise you, ladies and jelly spoons, that as much as Craig did try and ask those questions for me to nail down a bit more what this show may be, none of this has actually been rehearsed.
Oh God, no.
That was.
Why would we do that?
That was just an amazing coincidence.
Rehearse? I've heard of it. Yeah.
And luckily, I just so happen to have the track queued up now. Straight after this, we're going to get very, very third bridgy. So stay tuned and get ready to listen to quite the history, quite the emotional tale, and something that, well, I'm going to enjoy, and I'm pretty sure you guys will as well, leading up to the final. Final sounds so final. God. But
it does.
The last track from the third bridge to be released. Whew. And I thought that, I mean, considering everything lined up as well, and we're going into that section now, and the Sharp V track that I'm about to play is called How Does This All End?
We couldn't have planned this any better, huh?
No. Here we go. Well, that is uncanny.
A lot of things are uncanny about the whole thing.
I feel like there is far too much fate coming into play now.
Let me ask you, have you heard the last track yet?
I didn't purposely. I was going to, literally just before this show, and then you said I've uploaded it to the database. And I was like, I had time to listen to it right then, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
You want to talk about state? Once you hear the lyrics, it's going to blow your mind. That's all I'll say.
I don't feel prepared enough for this, to be honest. I really don't.
We're going to be fine.
Watching all the changes.
See that snare?
I wish that I could turn back time, feeding on the rumors.
It's strange because it is quite like high-end. don't know how to explain it. It's bearing on that kind of reggae gunshot kind of
Yeah.
style.
Gunshot thing, yeah, for sure.
But not as strong as it's used in that kind of music.
Well, first time I couldn't tell if that was electronic, because it's got that real muffly sound, like it's like a triggering something. That must be acoustic.
With the rest of the kit,
Yeah.
I think it must be live. Or it's been very well done to sound not
Yeah.
live. But if I was going to do that, I wouldn't do it in 50 as well.
Yeah.
The one thing I've always liked about Sharp V's music, all of it, is it's just straight up honest music. There's no tricks, there's nothing hidden, there's no pitch corrector, there's no faffing around. It's real dynamics and real playing.
Yeah. Well, everything they do serves the song. You know, I think that's the hardest part. Is just to write a good song. You know, I mean, melody is a huge thing, and a lot of people kind of ignore it until the end of it. They're gonna do the vocal. Now, what do I think? You know, like the last minute thing. You know, the title song, tasteful, quick play in. Nothing too flashy, but it serves the song, you know, it's what it should be. Investigators like that, too. There's a guy that can write a tune.
So, we'll start off, as I said, it was the usual kind of simple questions. Who are the fire bridge, where you call the third bridge? Let's have a bit of that background, but I want to get through that quickly. First track. Yeah, I want to get into the good stuff quicker rather than the obvious stuff. But I know we're starting off with. You still want to start off with Mega Trials? That's the first track we played, wasn't
Yeah, that's first track.
Because I remember this because it always popped up on my system because you hadn't decided what you were doing yet, and my Mega Child is still. Everyone else's has got the updated one. Mine is still labelled Scott Halverson and Craig Allen.
Oh man, that's the original.
That is the original Mega. So if you're okay, I'd like to play.
Sure. That's the only problem with the third bridge, you know, as you're well aware. Our quality is all over the place. Some songs are decent, some are too long, some are thin. Do what you guys are learning how to do it, you know? I mean, my production stats are much better nowadays, obviously.
Oh, definitely.
Thank God. You know, but back then we were trying to figure it out. You know, we started out with a 4-track cassette deck. You know?
Oh, how far you've come. And you're still not using the DAW.
No. I know I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, I think, and learn how to use it.
But here we go. That was Sharp V with the weirdly. There's a lot of Fate playing about and Karma and well, not Karma. There's something's playing around up there, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is. So carry on because it's quite funny. How does this all end, Sharp V? Yeah, great track, and that is recently redone and remastered. With from what we gather, in future, it's going to be some more releases from Sharp V. But tentatively now, I say we're lining up to start talking about another release, and there is a part of me right in the back of my head that is trying to put this off as long as possible. However. The reason why Craig is here, and we've mentioned it on and off throughout the first part of the show, is Craig is one half of the third bridge, and we're going to tell you more about the other half shortly. But Craig is here today to release the final track that will be made from the third bridge. If you're still not quite sure who Craig is, you may know him of Dirty Dan and the Mud Puppies, Screwdrivers for Ears. Some say he has something to see rage.
Yeah.
That's the stare that I get all the time.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Obviously, as the third bridge. Obviously.
I can hear you. you.
Obviously, and of the Third Bridge, and of course Craig
let's see.
Allen Hecht himself.
The weenies.
And the Weenies, yeah.
The weenies. And about Tyson Betty.
Take some, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll find
but yes.
another one. And also, which we will play at some point, but featured spots in the likes of Gravehuffer's tracks.
Yes. I got to play solo on a track off the new album, which was quite an honor. Great guys. Richie Randall, fantastic fella, great guitar player as well, great songwriter. Gravehuffer's tops.
Yeah, very good. But with all those incarnations of the Craig and the interviews that we've done over the years, and because of our alike taste in not just music but games and films and a lot of other stuff, me and Craig are genuinely actually really, really good friends.
Yes.
With something so important to both of us as this final song, I was going to really focus in on the Third Bridge specifically, and try and do it in somewhat of a history lesson, as I have given Craig so many times very late on XRP radio when it's been just me and him, and I've ended up playing my own music. So somewhat I'm allowing you to get your revenge here, sir.
Yes, payback. Yes, but your music is fantastic, my friend.
Wait, this is about you. This is definitely not the time to try and get me back into making music.
You know how I feel.
I know how you feel, and one day.
Get your bass fixed, though, will you?
I really want to. You've made me look at it now. Right, Third Bridge. That's what we're here for.
Ooh, okay, right.
And we're starting right at the start. So I'm going to say a bit, and then I'm going to let Craig wobble on about it for a few minutes, because this goes back a bit. The first time that I ever heard anything from anything to do with Craig, but specifically the Third Bridge, it was given to me not by him. It wasn't by him at all. It was the other half of the Third Bridge, Scott Halverson, who singing too many praises will be done throughout this show. Absolute fucking legend of a man. So you may notice that the metadata tag on my version of this very early iteration of the very first thing from the Third Bridge isn't from the Third Bridge at all. It's from Scott Halverson and Craig Hecht. So yeah, this is the very start, really, of the Third Bridge in any iteration, and you hadn't even decided that it was going to be the Third Bridge?
Oh, no. You remember, you've heard Downtrodden, right? That was the same, came from the same period.
Okay.
You know, we weren't necessarily a band. Although, I mean, and also, I shouldn't backpedal too much here, but when we wrote the Brainhammer stuff, that was around the same time, too. Then, before Third Bridge, we had a band called Private Universe. It was the two of us. And we came out with a cassette-only album called The Realm of Your Nuclear Disguise, which one of my friends at work called the most depressing thing she's ever heard in her life. And so we moved from that to the Third Bridge, and that was what you have there. So, yeah, it wasn't named yet.
Because A Private Universe is what you named the first Third Bridge album, yeah?
Right, there you go.
Okay, The link has been made.
Uh-huh.
So are any of the stuff from that in any of the Third Bridge stuff at all, or was that just a namesake?
No,
crossover?
No. After Private Universe, we just kind of retooled a little bit, and we went to more of like a psychedelic rock type thing, you know, and that's what Third Bridge wound up being, you know. But we were, when you got that track, we haven't even named it yet, you know. But yeah, we kind of retooled a little bit.
So let's as this is a bit of a history lesson, because I will note on this as Icebox Studios progressed over the years. This track, how did you like physically make it? How was it recorded?
Boy, I'm gonna say this one was recorded back in my first studio, back in the middle '80s, on a 4-track cassette. It was a Yamaha 4-track machine I had one synthesizer. Let's see, one drum machine, a couple acoustic guitars, and electric. But back when we first started, Scott was very much into GarageBand on the iPad, and he'd bring things in on loops all the time, as a basic track. So he'd set the iPad down. We record the iPad into one track of the 4, and then embellish on top of that. So I'm sure some of those sounds you hear in Megachild are loops off of the iPad off of GarageBand.
Wonderful. I love that mix of like old school Tascam with iPad GarageBand. That's
right.
Truly two halves. Well, let's have a listen again. For those listening, this is a bit of a history lesson of the third bridge. Please excuse my slight distractions there. So please turn your mind back to early production, the first iterations, and because we are going to literally the newest thing that hasn't. I mean, I guess it is being released when we play it. I guess.
Yes, you're the first ones to hear it.
Whew, the pressure. So here we go. Here's the original version of Megachild. Scott Halversham and Craig Hecht. There weren't even the third bridge yet.
No.
There we go. Apologies for the background behaviour there.
That's okay.
Is everything okay? Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're joining us now. Hey!
Rise and you'll hear the sound. Plant your feet firmly on the ground.
So, we sorry about that. We have, we let the kid, like, just before bed, he can go up into his bedroom, chill out, watch some TV, and then go to bed. So we've got it set off on a timer, and the idea is he goes up at like 8 or half 8, watches an episode of what he wants, gets into bed. But what actually happens is he goes up, watches an episode of what he wants, the TV turns itself off, and he comes down and annoys us for an hour.
Well,
all these parental controls things sound great in actually, he's got a tablet that we can restrict so we can only have 2 hours of time a day, for instance.
Sure.
So what actually happens is after 2 hours he comes up to us and goes, "Can I have some more time? Can I have some more time? Can I have some more time?"
I love it.
Yep, yes you can. Oh dear, it's good fun though.
Oh, funny.
Hello to, I hate my ignorance, but NZM Creations. Hello for saying hello. I don't know who you are, but thank you for saying hello. Please do. You know what though? This still, I think because you've been quite quiet on the final wave. I think this still holds up production-wise.
I love this song, man. It's got everything going on. There's a really cool synthesizer track here in the middle. A little solo. That's like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That's a Lucky Man.
I love all the percussion in the background as well.
Yeah, that's all iPad loop.
The tambourines and the shakers and everything, or a cabasa.
Yeah. It's a second acoustic track electric. Yeah, it's all actually pretty clear for being that long ago, you know. You see, that melody is so good. Scott, boy, he can write a melody, man. It is great. I wouldn't think like that. And of course the harmonies too. We were always big into harmonies.
I mean, you have a proggy sensibility to the way that the tracks are kind of composed. But what's nice is to have so many layers. You can never say a song from the third bridge is thin.
We doubled everything.
You cannot say there is anything sin about a fight. Even at this, the first track, you can't say it's sin.
I'm trying not to. Where's he on?
Oh, this is this is so early. This is the weird one that's got an extra little bit of the track.
That's the fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, this has got. So for the radio people, there's a little gap here, and there's actually just a little random bit of extra tune now. So here you go. It just randomly goes back into it for a little solo and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
How come I didn't catch that when I uploaded it 9 years ago?
And we played it a few. I remember it was like a lot of the listeners back then were like, remember the extra bit, because you know what I'm like with a false ending. So
maybe it was like a secret track. I didn't know that I did.
But yeah, it's where all that cool synth bit was.
Yeah. That other song does that same thing, that Just a Fantasy. Remember it has that extra tag on the end of it?
Yeah.
But I think I uploaded a corrected version of it.
Yeah, I have got the new version of that.
Yeah.
I'll just have to double check which one that I'm playing.
yeah, obviously it's got the newer upload date. That's so weird. I'll have to go back and look at this now too.
I don't think the one on the database, on the main database. I think this is my version from like the old database years ago.
Yeah, because there were two databases, right?
Yeah. I think I am the only person with this version.
You may not be.
I found this on. Oh, hello. Thank you.
I'm just kind of looking at the chat here. Yeah, the Bogman's got it right. He's talking about a lot of 60s psychedelic sound here. Boy, he's got the money right on the head. That's what we shot for.
There we go. You're listening to XRP Radio. That's Mega Child from... I don't even want to say the Third Bridge. That was from Scott Halverson and Craig Hecht.
Right
in my database, that is who that track will always be from.
Yep.
Because that's wonderfully old school. Right. Sorry. So someone is hassling my social media and it's doing my head in, so I have literally had to take my watch off to tell him to stop it. Anyway. Live stuff hurts my brain. Right. Whew. It's emotional enough to deal with without having curveballs. See, the thing is, what I want in my deep, I want this to be like the best radio show ever. I want to do you proud. I want like no problems, everything to go swimmingly and smoothly. So the pressure's on for me, to be honest.
I'll try to hold it up on my end. I'm pretty chill myself. I don't know. I'm surprised actually. I think I am in a, I don't want to say state, but worse state than you are currently. Yeah.
About this, I'm so emotional.
Well, when we get into the history of the thing and I tell you how I deal with it, you're probably gonna be a little puzzled, but it helps me get through it. How I approach it, actually.
Okay.
Like there's still two of us.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. There is. I mean, this is a thing, and I guess as it's being mentioned now, now's the time to touch on it. And I still say, like, I still speak about the Third Bridge as Craig is one half of the Third Bridge, and as I said, that track is by Scott Halverson and Craig Hecht. Unfortunately, and I am terrible with dates, so Craig will probably correct me. But unfortunately, we lost Scott to cancer. And he was weirdly, I don't know how Craig deals with me saying this, but he was one of my best friends, even though there was an ocean between us. And, he is one of the reasons why XRP is still going, full stop, because I gave it all up and Scott kicked me right up the arse from a distance, and I wasn't allowed to give it up.
Nope.
So, yeah, like you'll hear us speak through this, and I don't think at any point we really are truly speaking in past tense or as a point of loss. But that was of point just to make. That's the only bit that's going to make that make sense from where me and Craig speak about it going forward. Because yeah, he Scott Halversham is a great man. And I say is still right now. And that's the important thing to me. And that's part of the reason why this is so important to me as an interview and important to Craig as well. Because it's a share of not just music and games, as we say, and other likes, but a solid friendship as well.
Correct. I could take that a little bit from you, Tiz. The thing is, we lost Scott in January of 2016. And it put me in a strange state in the fact that, now he knew it was coming. He had the diagnosis for quite a while. And, it got down to where he was leaving me messages on how to handle things after he was gone. Here's the passwords for the social stuff. Here's I want this stuff done like this. He was still writing lyrics. He still had creative ideas. He was still emailing me things. That's why Third Bridge has continued since 2016. I've had a backlog of Scott's lyrics that I have continued to put music to. And I cross my fingers and I hope that it's music that somewhere, wherever he is now, he gives his thumbs up and his approval. I try to make sure it honors him and what he did. How I deal with it is that, think of it this way, Scott and I are still in the same house. He's just in a different room. I need to compartmentalize it. I can't, if I was just swallowed by grief, Third Bridge would not continue. The last time I saw him in the hospital, I held his hand, told him I loved him, and he said, "You make sure the music keeps going." I promised him I would. So that's why Third Bridge has continued. I would have kept going anyway, but they had the man tell me, he passed off the baton. He said, "You got to keep it going." Mm-hmm. And when you talk about what he said about you and XRP, he was the kind of guy that he met so many musicians over the social medias. And it was always, he gave everybody such a positive vibe, no matter what their ability was or where they were at in their musical journey or whatever. He gave everyone such a boost and such a jolt of positivity. And, he was just there to pick everybody up, and that's the kind of guy he was, and I try to honor that. Down here in my studio, just to my side here, is a spot we call it the Scott spot. And that's where he would stand. We would record. He would stand down here in the studio. I'd strap on one of these gazillion guitars or go to the keyboard and I'd be writing. This stuff would be coming out of me. And his was, he was the editor. He would say, no, don't do that part, or knock that down by a key, or slow it down, or speed it up, or a bit more intense, or no, back down. And he was the guy who could take my craziness and channel it into something that made a lot more sense. I wish I had that now. Sometimes working by yourself is a little unsure and a little scary, because I don't have anyone to bounce that stuff off of anymore. So I kind of, every now and then, if I get stuck, I'll stand in the Scott spot, and I go, "Well, buddy, what do you think of this?" And more often than not, I get some kind of inspiration from that, and we keep on going.
I hear that.
Hopefully that helps a little bit to clear it up a little bit for you. But.
No, I the worst thing is I'm sitting here thinking like, geez, and there's been a few times, Craig, where I've been like, not even like I can't keep this going now, but like, am I still well enough to keep this going? Not from an enjoyment thing and that. And my go-to thing is the last few messages I had with Scott on Facebook, which I still have to this day. And I still go back regularly and go back to that and go at my lowest point. And at the very start of this, I didn't know that Scott was ill at the very start. So there's me moaning about like, oh, I can't do XRP radio, and he's like kicking me to sort it out, and then when I'm finally like, okay, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna keep it going, kind of like you said with the music almost. But he was like, so what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna start? No, don't do that to start with. Focus on that bit.
Right.
He's very good at organizing others. He's very good at organizing other people.
Yep, for sure.
Oh dear me.
Yeah.
I think now is a good time before we absolutely fry my brain to pick up the next tune.
Okay.
And you did give me a little list that I was going to go pretty much in order of.
Okay.
Yep. So the next one up that you mentioned before from the slightly amusing having need to re-upload it, Just a Fantasy.
Yeah.
So where in the grand schemes of the history are we at with Just a Fantasy?
Okay, we've upgraded now. Now we're going to an 8-track deck. It was a Tascam DP01, I believe, built-in hard drive. 8 channels now instead of 4. Let's see, Just a Fantasy was our first attempt at writing a pop tune. Something kind of catchy, something a bit more, catchy harmonies and whatnot. And people keep comparing it to the Beach Boys. I don't see the Beach Boys in it, man. I don't get that. But once again, Scott on lead vocals. I'm the remainder. Scott on guitar. I should probably mention as well, too, that a lot of people don't know Scott was a skilled he was classically trained in nylon string acoustic guitar. He knew all these chords and whatnot. He'd be playing something and I go, what in the hell is that? It's not a G or C or a D. Oh yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, great. It didn't help me any, So
I remember him pulling out a chord to me and he was winding me up and he goes, what is it? The E minor 11 sus 4.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, what are you on about E minor 11? It's like, it's the best chord in the world, and he kept going on about it. And if for those that don't know, I'm pretty sure I'm right. E minor 11 sus 4 is just all the strings played open.
Pretty much, yeah.
But he was winding me up about it for weeks.
I know. No, but he used to take great pleasure in always telling me that everything I did was wrong. He'd say, what you're doing in the terms of the rules and musical theory is wrong. You should not be able to do what you're doing. And I go, that's because I'm totally untrained. I play an ear. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just pick up a guitar and away we go. So it was his knowledge of music and my total lack of knowledge of music. When you put them together, we had to bridge. And there you go.
Here we go then. This is Just a Fantasy. We've got a whole 4 more layers of tracks here.
Oh yeah.
With the Tascam. Was it Tascam again? Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Can't beat the Tascam. Here we go. Just a Fantasy, the 3rd bridge. Oh god, sorry to cut you off a bit there, but it was getting a bit heavy.
No. That's fine.
That's somewhat of the problem. It's not. I guess it's not necessarily all the emotion of just the song being the final song, but like I know all the memories that speaking about stuff like this brings up for me.
Yeah.
Because you get both lows and highs. Like I love being able to say like Scott's part of the reason why XRP Radio didn't stop, which is like a nice thing. But also it's that low point of remembering being at that point where I almost stopped.
The part that's ironic about this whole thing is I've had times where I reached out to you on ARP and I said, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm barren. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do with it anymore. And you guys will be the one to lift me up. You're kind of paying it back the other way sometimes too. I mean, you might see Quackzilla someday in your lifetime.
Yes.
I mean, there's times I just give up. I don't know what to do. Oh, the harmonies are just killer. And the guitar tone, that's one Fender amplifier with an 8-inch speaker with a cheap mic on it.
Wicked.
You never know.
A lot of those early kind of the kind of production band kind of metal meets drum and bass stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep.
A lot of the production of that was done on those little Marshall stack amps that you can click to your belt.
Yeah.
One of those was an SM58 in my bed.
Yeah.
One of them SM58 in my bedroom.
Yeah.
All the heavy guitars in all of those early
That's
tracks.
all it is. Yeah, Fender 10-watt champ amp with a SM58 on the seat.
SM58s have got a lot to answer for.
I still use one where I'm not doing anything, like all my draft stuff.
do.
I always use SM58.
I use an SM58 as a kick drum mic rather than a kick drum mic.
Oh yeah, you can do anything with multi-purpose.
I would rather use that. Nope.
I'm really curious now to see if the fake ending comes through. I know I just... Oh, the drums to the runs? That's an old Yamaha drum machine. I'm playing the pads on the drum machine. Live.
I love it.
That's not loop. That's what that is. Yeah, I'm actually doing it on the pad.
That's wonderful.
Bump, 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 bump. Oh man.
For those not on the visual stream, Craig just informed me that those little drum fills were played live, tapping on what did you use? Sorry,
it was a Yamaha RX5 rhythm machine. It was the drum machine that matched the DX7 digital synth from Yamaha. It was the sister drum machine that matched that. But it had little pads on the top. I played those live. That was the drum fills.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that's all we had, man. I mean,
I love it. I mean, were you making these? So, I mean, we got your tracks kind of 2000, probably at the earliest, late 2013 to
2014, probably
2014.
To me. Yeah. Yep.
So were these tracks being made at that time or any earlier, and it just so happened that we got them later?
The stuff that you got that was earlier than that is like all the Brainhammer stuff.
Okay, yeah.
That was recorded way back on the old 4-track cassette for sure.
Because I remember, because this is the weirdest thing, right? Sometimes you come across like, oh yeah, we use all these, and that was way back in the day. But in actual fact, like it was more like sometimes it feels like you're saying like way back in the 70s we used the 4-track Tascam, and in actual fact you're using a lot of old gear and stuff, but it wasn't actually that long ago.
No, not really. Because I never, all the fancy gear I have now. I mean, I haven't used a guitar amplifier in probably, 10 years. Everything I use now is either apps or simulations or models. I mean, I haven't had an amp in a long time. But back then, there wasn't any of that stuff. So you actually had to have an amplifier. I mean, I had an old Marshall 412 back in the day with a 100-watt head. I had to drag that thing around over the place.
Do you? I mean, this is a bit aside from the history of the Third Bridge, I know, but do you like... I hate saying this because everyone takes it the wrong way, and you always play me up when I say it, but as an older musician...
Go for it.
Do you...
I don't care.
With these changes in stuff, like you use them, obviously, but do you use them out of it just makes sense and that's it, or like would you rather go back, or do you actually embrace these new things as they're coming up?
The short answer to that is I use technology to enhance my minimal ability.
That is a great phrase. I love that. Anything from Icebox Studios sounds like this, but if you look at what I'm actually playing, you get like this, No, I mean, seriously. I mean, think about it. As a one-man band, I mean, everything you guys have ever heard from Icebox Studios, except for the Dirty Dan thing, is me. It's all me, one guy, So I'm using all that technology to help me creatively, to get the stuff out of my head. Back in the old days, you couldn't do that. You had to record 1 track of drums, 1 track of bass, 1 track of guitar. Now I can do multiple tracks, and, especially with loops. Loops helps me out like crazy. I mean, none of my drums are real. They're all loop compression,
But yeah, I embrace it. Now, am I that good at it? No, but I take little bits and pieces. Like I do use a DAW. You know,
Yeah.
I have Ableton, but what I use it for is I use it as a keyboard controller. I have a whole bunch of soft synthesizers in my big PC in here in the studio. I trigger them all through Ableton. You know, so I don't record with it, but that's how I get my keyboard sounds out a lot of times.
Just because we're on the same lines, we do have a question in from the chat box. Night Wolf asked, what do you use now that saves you the most time from back in the days?
Well, let's see. My main recording rig right now is my Tascam DP32 digital multi-track. I've got 32 tracks, you know, and I hardly ever fill them, you know. I'd say that's my main thing that really saves me time. Also, I do use software called Music Maker from a company called Magix, M-A-G-I-X. That's where I get my drums from, and that is really inspirational. I'll grab like a drum loop, just have it loop, and I'll just start jamming to it. Really helps me creatively. Drums are a big thing for me. Most of the songs I've ever written, I've started, you know, a good rhythm gets me. You've heard Bippity Boppity Boom. That's based on a great drum track. I mean, man, I had that drum track on. I picked the guitar up, and that just fell right out, you know. But yeah, I would to answer Wolf's question. Yeah, I'd say that DP32, you know, because I haven't made the move yet to a digital audio workstation. But for me, it's a time saver. I mean, think about it. I have instant rewind. Back in my day when I started, you had to rewind a tape all the way back to the top. You know, now it's just bang. You know.
I love this because I sometimes forget. I mean, I went back. I started college working on analog, so we were splicing tape with a razor and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I know most people of my age are not of that kind of like what you on about not having instant rewind, that kind of stuff, which is wild. That like analog was a real different whole kettle of fish.
Oh yeah. Well, we had to turn records over too, you guys. That was horrible. A needle. You know, it's like nowadays where it's all streaming and everything.
Oh, we were watching something the other day, and some young person was like, "What do you do with a cassette tape?" I'm like, "Oh dear, a cassette."
Cassette, huh?
They got it at a thrift store, and it was the soundtrack to what's the bar? I know it. It's not Bartender. Tom Cruise. He's the fancy bartender.
Oh, Cocktail.
There we go, yeah.
It was the soundtrack to Cocktail, and she's like, I don't think Tom Cruise wrote all these songs, but I got this machine I can put my cassette tape into, and I don't know where it goes.
You know,
she was like, all the hits from the 90s, wasn't she?
The late 1900s.
Late 1900s. All the hits from the late 1900s on this cassette tape.
1900s. I know. You know, back when we released the first Brainhammer album, Christmas in Hell, we literally had to take the 4-track cassette, dump that over to a cassette, you know, record it as a and then we had to take that master copy and copy each blank tape to make the albums. We did like 150 of them that way.
Was the last one of the 150 a little bit longer than all the others?
A bit. a bit, yeah. Yep.
I remember doing that. We had them Sony DP long play tapes. That I tried to do. We did that with our first band, and we made 200 copies. Yeah. And the last copy, it went out, and it was to one of our friends, and he came back and went, "This doesn't really sound like you." And we were like, "What you on about?" Played it back, and it was about 2 minutes longer. Everything was just like...
there was a little bit of wear and tear involved, you know. Oh man,
that was my old band Something for the Weekend, Ladies and Jelly Spoons. If anyone has one of those tapes, I want it back because I don't have a copy of any of that music.
You don't even have a thing that will play a cassette.
I don't care. I want my music back. I don't have it. Oh dear. Good fun. Yeah, we're tangenting. We have a lot more tracks that we wanted to get through. It's my fault as well.
We'll just live here. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Luckily, we don't have a show on after us, so we actually don't.
Oh, let's keep going then. I mean, it's whatever you guys are, but I'm in the middle of the afternoon here, so.
Yeah, and I don't care about life.
I like to sleep though.
I mean, sleep is passe. I've heard of it.
It'll be all right. It'll be
Yeah,
all
you'll be
right on the
fine.
night.
You'll be
We're
fine,
not
Kat.
doing anything tomorrow.
I know you'll have so much fun. I'll be upstairs snuggled up in bed.
Okay, fine.
Fine then.
Oh, we can do all the naughty things
now I
after
gotta,
then.
No, now I gotta
There
sit
you
down
go.
here. I have to sleep under the desk.
Next up, I
Yes.
would believe that the next track is
The Traveler?
well, yeah. Yes, it is. I do remember that much. But it's one that you tend to request a lot yourself. If you're ever, or you used to a lot more anyway. If we ever got round to talking about the Third Bridge or what Third Bridge track, you tended for a good long time to pick The Traveller. And it's also one of my personal favourites. So, I mean, I didn't really formulate a question at that. I'm just going to say those things and tell you to expand on it.
Oh, simple. The Traveler was one of the first songs where we envisioned it. Like there was like a video playing in our heads of it when we first came up with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, when Scott gave me the lyrics, and it was very Middle Earth like, a lot of Tolkien like imagery, like butterflies and dragons and all this kind of stuff, and I go, man, and it talks about this guy on this quest, and right away, it's still in my head. I picture this little guy. Gotta get my hands in here. Here we go. Little guy, like a wizard guy, cocked hat and everything, with the peak on it. And he's climbing this mountain, trying to get to whatever is at the top of it. Because if you listen to The Traveler, it starts out, there's thunder and lightning, and you hear all this real atmospheric stuff. The thing about Third Bridge that got cool is as we kept going onward, we kept trying to tell a story through sound. We like to use sound effects. We like to use a sense of atmosphere to like create a sense of place, kind of like a movie in your mind. We started to move into that type of thing, and Traveler was a great example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, every time I hear it, I'm amazed by the harmonies because they're so close and so tight. And looking back at it, I have no idea how the hell we did that. I mean, God, they were just right in the pocket. I mean, I was singing a line, and Scott would come in with some other harmony that I didn't hear, and I go, that is so cool. Then I'd bounce on top of that harmony, and Scott playing great 12-string guitar, acoustic on this, his 12-string Taylor guitar, and I thought the production was good, and it really showed how much we had progressed. To me, this was one of the songs that really kind of stepped up our game. I think that's the reason I requested a lot. So There you go.
I agree. It's definitely a step up and a track that I kind of mentioned it about Mega Child, but I would say that this track along the lines is truly timeless.
Yep.
I think this would stand up. It stood up. What 5-6 years ago? It stood up today, and it will stand up in another 10 years' time quite easily. I know I will be in my 90s, sitting here going, my mates Craig and Scott made this track ages ago, bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
This is The Traveller from the Third Bridge. Can I trust you? Oh, right, nice. I was going to say, can I trust you with the buttons now? But then you get up. It's all right, don't worry about it. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Oh,
That's
man.
fine.
Oh.
I mean, this is truly just a really lovely track from start to finish, and it feels like it's how do I put it? Everything in it feels purposeful.
That acoustic guitar intro, Scott came to me with that, and that was all he had was that. And I go right away. I'm going Led Zeppelin, Kashmir. That's where I'm going in my head. Da 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 da. That whole lick, I'm getting that from this because the whole song is kind of a drone on an A.
Yeah.
So I based everything else around that drone. Oh, it's still so cool.
I like how at lower, like I often listen to this quite quietly, just like, I'll have it. It's kind of, especially the start bit, just to have in the background, take your mind off stressing about one job or whatever.
Yep.
And you can almost miss the is it pan flutes in the background?
Boy, let me think what that is. I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, you can almost miss it at a lower volume, but it fills out this. It makes that guitar not sound empty.
Well, if you like you say, we always talk about layers.
Yeah.
There's a good example.
That one, I'd say that one's one of your most subtle layers. And also, this track, the whole track also really reminds me of the intro to A Deep Kick by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I've never heard the song. I'll have to look that up.
It's one of those where it's not like a direct representation. It's not sound for sound. It's not similar, but in the way, I think you'll listen to it and you'll go, "Oh yeah, I see what he means there," and then you probably won't like the tune, to be honest. But
I don't like the Chili Peppers. They're fine.
It's one of the early ones. I think it was off the 1 Hot Minute album.
Okay.
But it had the drone elements and the way that it. Somewhat the way it's layered, it's almost quite oppressive. Not in a negative way, but it's quite like on top all the way through.
Those little guitar noodles you hear in there, that's kind of like my tribute to Brian May from Queen. He's one of my big influences, all those little stats. I like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll never get tired of this one either. There's so much other stuff I could have suggested to. I mean, I had songs where Scott had 3 songs that he had written that he knew were going to be his last 3 songs. There was The Battle, there was Pre-Flight, and then Just Be Love, which was the last thing that he thought he had written. And I recorded those, you know, it was the first stuff I had done without him. Because I wanted to honor him, you know. So I really didn't bring those up because they're kind of, I don't know what to say, a little vague maybe. I was still getting used to the idea of putting new music to his words, you know.
I won't lie, I do remember The Battle, and I don't say it wasn't, it was a good tune, but I guess I don't want to say the cheesy option, but you could feel your battle with doing that at that time.
Yeah. I'm interested that you feel that way. It was tough, you know.
Like because I know we spoke 1 or 2 times when because I remember a couple of conversations where you were almost a bit like, should I be doing this? Is this tasteful even?
Right. Exactly.
And I knew that it would be good for you, but I also like with The Battle, I was kind of like, this is hard because if I was somewhat, I guess, if I encourage this too much and someone else turns around to you and says what I was thinking, that you're having a battle at this point at the moment, making this track The Battle, and that like I knew that wouldn't have been great for you at that time.
Yeah.
So it was, I won't lie, it was awkward for me because I wanted to encourage what you were doing, but I also wanted you to have your space to kind of do it to yourself, I guess.
I kind of got thrust out there pretty quick. I mean, the day after his funeral service, I had written, We All Need a Little Light.
That's The Traveller from the Third Bridge, one of my personal favourites from the Third Bridge, and I think a little bit inside you makes it one of your favourites at least.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, it does. It's such a full song, and everything sounds purposeful in it. Every lyric, it took you from those earlier, I think you'd admit, more jammed out songs to We Have Now Made a Song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There was a lot of songs before that were just more or less, like you say, just a jam. There was a tune called Limitless that we had done a long time before that. That was a great song. A lot of people liked it, but all it really was a drum loop and a couple of acoustic guitars over it. You know, it wasn't so polished, I guess. But
a little bit free flow, shall we say?
Yeah. A good tune nonetheless. You know, but we got as we started to master our technology a bit more. You know, it really helped us with our writing. So that was cool.
Talking about tech, that's not something that I touched on before that. So, did we have a further upgrade for the Traveller between that and Just a Fantasy? What are we talking about here?
I think the Traveler is still an 8-track
Still on the 8-track
deal. Yeah. So, far as
but
I
then again,
remember.
realistically, with what you've got there, you didn't need more.
No, I've always liked to have more than what I need. I'm running 32 now, and I never fill up 32 tracks. Fingers crossed. I get close sometimes, but anyway, I digress.
Or if I had a digital, the weird thing is DAWs, unlimited tracks. You never worry, right?
Right.
I've recently bought I mean, it's one of those 12, but it's a 14 track, if you know what I mean. Desks, and the first thing that I want to do is plug everything into it. I want all of those inputs filled. It's a challenge.
Oh yeah. I know the deck I have now. I have 8 ends on it, and they're all full. Every input goes to something, whether it's a synthesizer or a drum machine or a guitar. They're all full.
Love it.
There's always something.
Perfect.
There's always some button I can push, do something with.
That's a proper studio, ladles and jelly spoons. I keep seeing these photos in of people's like kit in the studio, and it's very nice looking room, but like the photo looks good because there's more fancy lighting than there is equipment in there.
Oh yeah.
I want racks of synthesizers, electric drum kits. I want everything all over the place. I want a desk full of little buttons, gadgets, and gizmos. I don't want a computer, a Mac Mini that's about that big, an interface, and a mouse that isn't even the size of someone's hand.
Right. Yeah. That's been the hard thing too. I mean, you mentioned my age, which is fine, but
the way you put that, Craig.
Which is fine.
The way you put that. Yeah.
The approach so much now to so much different things, whether it be recording, marketing, the business, so much has changed, and I try to adapt to that as best I can, It's just funny to see the progression of it, I mean, when I was coming up, you made a demo tape, you put it in an envelope and you send it off to Warner Brothers, you send it off to RCA, you say, here's in a little letter, here's my music, maybe you'll give me a record deal, and I had a ton of rejection slips, I think everybody did. Now it's all DIY. Now it's all, how many streams can I get? How many likes can I get? It's a whole new world, and for me, I probably should be more cognizant of all that type of thing. But for me, it still comes down to the original idea of the Third Bridge, which was make music that I enjoy or we would enjoy, put it out there. If somebody else happens to like it too, fantastic. We did a great thing. You're entertaining people. You're making them feel good. That's the whole idea. I don't get caught up in numbers and streams. Maybe I should.
The hard thing is the how do I find it? The unacknowledged difference between how things are and how things were. So, I think my musical career is older than the age that I actually am, because I started off using old school audio equipment, and I started off playing in dive bars, in Eddie's Number 8 specifically, selling my own tickets to the venue and that kind of stuff. And back then, you could, if you had 30 regular mates that turned up to all your gigs, and 30 regular tickets, and you spent £10 a ticket, you had £300 every single weekend for that gig.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, you have 30 regular mates, 30 people that regularly listen to your Spotify, and you need a full-time job.
Yeah, you do.
And that is the crying massive difference. Now, you, luckily, later on in your life and career, you've had that ability to be like, those 30 people are the 30 people that still love my music, and I want to make music for those 30 people, and that's still okay.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I'm
a young band out there now.
Well,
those 30 people don't mean as much as they used to us, because those 30 people back in the day that were listening to our music and coming to all our gigs, and we got our £300 a week off for our gigs, are still listening to our music now, no matter what age we are, and we've done that. Like you said, I'm in the same way. I couldn't go out and play a gig now. I can't do it. I ain't got that energy in me. And
Yeah.
You're more receptive for it, but yeah. So
Well, I'm kind of an odd duck, in terms of XRP artists, because everybody else here, it seems to me anyway, obviously I don't know everyone, but they're more of their younger bands. They're doing all original material. They're doing what they're doing. I'm kind of like the total polar opposite. I played in cover bands for like 35 years. That's where I started. So I didn't come into this original music thing. I mean, I always wrote stuff just for fun, on the side as a hobby, but it wasn't until I quit playing live and stuff that I really started to ramp up my game with my originals, thus the Icebox Studios thing, So I come from cover band land, and I always tell people the cool thing about that is if you play a bunch of different styles of music like that, it kind of informs your ability because you get to play. I could play a little bit of country, a little bit of metal, a little bit of rock, a little bit of funk, a little bit of. It makes you a more rounded musician, I think, as opposed to being stuck with one genre. That's why you've got Icebox Studios. That's my funk side falling out and the country side falling out, and you know, um, when I first started doing the Craig Allen Hecht thing, I just thought if I release a song that's metal and the next song is funk and the next song is country, who's going to take me seriously? It's like this guy doesn't even know what he wants to be. That's why I'm 8 different bands. You know, I don't know. Looking back, I'm not sure if it was a good idea or a bad idea, but it is what it is. Which isn't third bridge either. I'm sorry to say, but it worked.
Like I mentioned to you earlier, I think it was between tracks. So, like one of the great things about you isn't the fact that you're just a musician, but it's the pattern. You're a storyteller, and that isn't just the story through like the story of Cluckzilla, the story of
Captain Midnight or Captain whatever he was. Yeah, Captain Midnight.
Yeah,
pirate.
We both forgot.
Captain whatever he is. Yeah, great.
Stories. How did we both forget his name at the same time?
I
felt bad forgetting it, but then you did it as well.
Yeah, so Captain, what's his name? In the thing.
But yeah, it's the stories behind the bands as well, like the Weak Knees.
The Weenies,
and Screwdrivers for ears. You went to the habit of doing the photograph for each of the band members.
That was my buddy. That was my buddy Mark, who is Dirty Dan. That was his idea.
That's awesome, but that pageantry and the stories behind them. I mean, one of all, it's brilliant and it's hilarious to us. But on the other side, like, how do you keep it all up? I couldn't be that many people.
To be honest with you,
I just have my little bit of fun going, some say. But you're the one that has to keep up with all the rumors.
Yeah, right. Actually, to be honest, I'm starting to kind of rein all that back in now. I think with Cluckzilla, you're going to see. It might be the last that I do all the different side groups and put it. I'm still toying. ALC has heard me say this before. I can't decide if I should still have it. One track is Screwdrivers. One track is Tex and Betty. One track is me. Or should I say the whole thing is Craig Allen Hecht? And here's your new album, folks. And it's all me doing. I still haven't even decided how I'm going to work that yet. It's still up in the air.
I think I mentioned something amusing. My thought would be like it's Craig Allen Hecht, like not this is Cluckzilla by Craig Allen Hecht. Do it like like some of the TV shows do. This is Craig Allen Hecht's Cluckzilla feature.
Oh yeah, like a feature. Yeah, actually, Boom Smack does it really well. He does. And now here's Craig Allen. Here's Craig Hecht as the Weenies, or here's Craig Hecht as something, C-Ray or something, It's cool how he does that. I never thought about that before.
I'd almost go, this is Craig Allen Hecht presents
The Terror of Cluckzilla,
featuring.
Yeah. I like that.
Cluckzilla 1, track
1.
Craig Allen Hecht featuring.
Well, if we get it out this year, I'll make sure I do that. Yep.
Hey, I want to help, but I know what you're like. You won't let me help.
No, you won't.
You won't.
Hey, man, what can I say? I am an island.
Can we at least make a funk tune like within the next 2 years together?
Yes.
You have to go there.
Yes. He said yes.
He said he won't collaborate.
No, he said
with
yes.
anybody.
He said yes. I can send you some bass licks. We can make a funk tune within the next 2 years.
You're going to show up at my studio then with Kat? Is that the idea then?
He can't online collaborate with nobody.
Let me send you some files for once.
Fine. Hey, I did it with Gravehuffer. I know, win.
It's live, it's a fact.
Yeah, now I can play this back at 2:00 this morning on YouTube and go, God, I said that, didn't I? Great.
Right then, I'm looking at the time. I knew we were going to go over schedule, but we should.
We have an hour and 5 minutes to finish the story.
Officially, it
Officially.
might go on a little bit.
I have time.
I don't mind. She's might.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yes.
She'll go to bed. Yes. So she's still sour about Diablo 4. This is the problem.
I wasn't going to talk about it anymore.
Bullshit.
She's still sour about it. You cannot talk about
Listen,
anything.
I spent an hour convincing him that we should get the PS5 and we could just put it upstairs in our bedroom, and then the new TV that he wanted, it would be a sensible purchase. It all makes sense.
Somehow she went from not allowing me to get a PS5. This is all.
Was it not allowed?
Wait.
In cash converters and CEX and like pawn shops, GameStop for cheap PS5s, and I could only get one if it was under £400.
Well, because you were just going to get it for Final Fantasy.
Two, right? I can buy a brand new one from Argos tomorrow with a brand new 4K TV. No,
we're gonna get
a second hand,
yeah.
but 4K TV. So because
nice.
Why would you get a PS5? As long as I get Diablo 4 with it.
And my own controller.
And her own controller, which probably has to be pink.
The only thing I'll warn you about is the PS5 has no storage whatsoever. There's zero hard. I have an external 8 gig USB drive holding games, plus I also have a 2 terabyte SSD drive in the thing on top of that. So, God, she's still on there. God darn it. Craig, could she get you a PS5 for a wedding gift?
And he's sitting there going, "You won't even let me buy a new guitar?"
I do. Wait, hang on. Let me get my fingers right.
No,
see
you did get.
See that one right there? That's
There
Sky.
she
She's
is.
the brand new one right there. And she's the new one. So I got to have a new one.
Mm.
But I do want a 4K TV. That's my big thing that I do want that I'll never get.
Have you not got a 4K TV?
No,
They're
my
not that
stupid.
expensive.
In the living room, I got my 60-inch thing's going to outlive me, man. She told me I can get a new one after this one craps out, but it's probably going to outlive me just to spite me.
Oh, sorry.
You know?
Oh yeah. That's the problem. Whenever you want something to break, it won't break, and whenever you don't want it to break, it breaks in a year. Just as the warranty runs out.
Yeah.
Well, the guys I used to work with would say, when she's asleep or something, just take the back off and take a wire cutter and go snip, 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 and go, honey, the TV doesn't start up. I can't do that. I'm too honest of a guy.
Well, you definitely can't do it now because she's listening.
Oh, she's heard this before.
All you can do is like soak the remote, like break the remote.
You can always get another remote.
Well, then they'll never know the TV doesn't work because nobody is walking up to press the button.
Yeah.
See, no one that she knows is.
You know what?
I mean, in my house, if we couldn't turn the TV on, Mom would go, "All right, fuck it, let's go get a new one."
I have to turn the TV on every day in the bedroom.
Well, that sucks. I don't.
That's it. You gotta be good for something.
We're way off track now.
What does that have to do with the third bridge?
We've gone from interview to free friends chatting in a room, so apologies from that.
That's
Okay.
Yes.
We have 1, 2, 3 tunes and a new tune.
Right
I'm
on.
thinking we may, before people get too tired, we may do the new one and then continue with the other ones.
Hit it.
Wicked. But for right now, we're going to seize the day. Which worked more perfectly than I care to imagine.
That was a really nice segue.
I thought so. It's almost seamless. The worst thing is the people that are watching this bit of it know that it was a complete blank. I need to visit the toilet. Did you? I just asked you
I said I can't help
no, you cannot help it.
I said I
See,
wasn't.
a long time gone. Memories that have slipped away.
Greg wanted to see
Oh,
it, guys.
funny.
Up ahead, I see a shore.
What?
I may only have
I'll tell Kat that. Sister stepped away to use the restroom. So,
mistakes
Kat, you with me?
I've
Connie just came down and set up back and buy kids a PS5 with the money. Right on. What?
With each step I take, the pages turn. A new book starts today. I will seize the day. Now I'm on my way. I will seize the day. Now I'm on my way. So easily the reasons come not to chase the dream. Choose to take the rocky path, hard as it may seem. So take the time, find your rhyme. The road is worth the climb for the view. 'Cause if we just take that single step,
Not ready for this.
will all come true.
You know, funny thing is, I think I wrote this for myself.
I will seize the day.
And everybody else who needs it, man.
Now I'm on my way. I will seize the day.
I'm so excited and so scared. Roller coaster.
Now I'm on my way. I will seize the day. Yeah, now I'm on my way. I will seize the day. But don't you know that now I'm on my way?
Buttons, please.
So there.
I don't think our audience have ever seen in the history of XRP Radio 2 people have to prepare themselves quite so much for an event. Whew.
Well, you see, I think we're looking at it from different standpoints. You're looking at it as the final song. I'm looking at it from, I hope it's good enough.
Yeah. I see. That's something that I have no worry of right at the moment.
Well, thank you. Let's see, you know.
I have absolutely no worry of. And the worst thing is, now I'm feeling bad because I have hyped this up throughout the past hour and 5 minutes.
See?
So much. I'm
Hey
like,
guys, it's a polka.
I swear to God.
Curveball.
I swear to God, if I play this and I hear 2 notes of country guitar, you're in so much trouble, Craig. So much trouble.
Oh man, that'd be great. I should have done that. Oh well.
No, you shouldn't.
What did he
I'll do a remix.
genre track it?
And that's the thing.
What
you-
did he genre it? I don't
You
know.
couldn't put it. I put rock.
Right.
You couldn't put a genre to this if you had to. Third bridge.
Oh dear, I am incredibly excited. I don't really know what to say, to be honest.
Hit the
This
button.
what we're about to play. I'm gonna let Craig. I think the best thing is to let Craig monologue after I say the next little bit, and when he stops speaking, I will press play. But from my point of view, this is this means. Sorry, I'm playing with that. This means a lot to me. You know, this is how do I put it for me? And I don't want to layer it on too hard for Craig either. But I also want him to realize that this is in some, but bar of the fact that I can reminisce and replay. This is the last thing from a very good friend. So that's why I'm like this. Yeah. So I guess the best thing is and on that note, I've probably said the worst thing to let Craig now speak for a while after I've said that. I'm really sorry. But I would like to hand over to you and let you lead up, and literally once you stop speaking, I will press play on this.
Okay. Let me compose myself. For everyone out there who's ever listened to Third Bridge, for everybody out there, if we touched your heart, we entertained you a little bit, we lightened your load, we lifted your spirit. The whole idea was peace, love, and music. For as corny as that sounds in these times, if you were listening to what we did and you enjoyed it, you spread it. Everyone at XRP, Tiz, Kat, crew, everybody who's ever gotten this music out, I know we're not a big popular band, but boy, we meant it. We were very true in our hearts to what we said when we wrote these lyrics and played these songs and wrote this music and got it out there. We just wanted to bring a little bit of love back into the world. And I think this song and these words from Scott kind of encapsulates all that. And just thank you so much. Thanks to all of you. And I think the song, it's pretty much Scott telling us that the song is called It's Okay. And it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Hit it, Tiz.
We're the third bridge. 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 save you from facing your future, but you're gonna have to do it alone. I'll try to guide you from off at a distance, but you're gonna have to walk on your own. It's okay, don't concern yourself. Things you can't control will happen all the time. There are many things far more important to fill up the voids in your life. Faith is something you can't see. Hope for times when there will be love to share for you and me. Let the dove inside be free. Let the dove inside be free. Sometimes I feel like I've been miles away. I regret if you're feeling this way. There's not much that I can do short of living your life for you. It's really best it's that way. It's okay, don't concern yourself. Things you can't control will happen all the time. There are many things far more important to fill up the voids in your life. Faith is something you can't see. Hope for times when there will be love to share for you and me. Let the dove inside be free. Let the dove inside be free. Let the dove inside be free. Let the dove inside be free.
Oh,
Well, we made it.
Uh-huh.
just a pate.
Yeah.
What can I even say? I mean, obviously emotional over here. I mean, okay. Let's break before we all fall apart here. I think the important and the most unified response that we would have right now is, shut up, Scott.
He is not going to shut up, man.
He's sitting there with a little wry smile on his face now. You know the smile. You know the smile he's got. He's sitting there going,
So there. Yeah.
Oh, so there.
Yeah. So I think that kind of carries the message across pretty well,
I mean, oh, I know you mentioned earlier, like, we were talking a bit about fate, and then we were talking about how, like, you know, he got you to carry on music and got me to carry on stuff, and I'm sitting there just thinking of all that conversation all the way through. I mean, aside from the fact, you know, let's get my professional hat on as hard as it is, mate. That is possibly the best production on a tune that I have ever heard you done.
Oh
from
no,
a start.
no, it's not.
No,
man.
no.
No, it's
Seriously,
not. Oh,
I think like not it really like even the guitar playing like there was some Scott sounding guitar playing there, you know.
yeah, yeah.
There was times in my emotional state that where I'm listening, and I will admit, and I know other people that are listening to this music won't sit there like me and Craig are, or anyone else is. Certain people are listening for Scott, and I know that comes across weird, but like, you know, there was definitely, you know, you channeled him through the guitar. You obviously they're his lyrics, so
Well,
just
you do understand that I'm playing his guitar, correct?
yeah. I mean,
That's his 12 string.
I know, but like it wasn't just his 12 string being played. It was his 12 string being played in the right way that his 12 string should be played.
Yep.
But seriously, production wise, that was delivered to my ears sublimely. The layers of the guitar. I've mentioned to you before, Craig. There's been a few tracks where I've been like, there's a little bit muddy over here.
I know.
But
I know.
I heard every single part of that. I don't know whether I listened to it harder because of the emotional background to it, but I heard every bit of that, and I heard every word, and I understood every word. Like, I don't know. I don't have to go. It's a weird one because I will listen to that a good few times now. I don't have to go back to that track because I know it now. I know its layers. I know how it sounds, and I didn't miss anything. And for me that was really important, mate. You know, like even if anyone else doesn't like it or whatever, you've done like you delivered. That was the perfect third bridge final track for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It really
Thanks, Tiz. Yeah, I thought I got the message across. I mean, I started out with a sheet of paper, you know, and some words on it. And I go, oh boy. There are still some things he left, and I think I've talked about this before to you, but they're more prose, more like poems. I can't really put music to them because I'd have to change them. I don't want to change his music or his lyrics anymore. So yeah, so that's what we've got, you know. But
well, I remember you didn't mention it just before, but you mentioned it when we kind of had our chat getting ready for this show.
Yeah.
And I don't want to attack you with this quite so directly online. But I thought it was a good time to possibly bring it up. I was thinking we're going to reimagine our magazine again very soon, and I was wondering if you would give me the permission to kind of spruce them up and deliver them as written poems in a nice format, and that could be the way that we could get those prose out.
Oh, of course.
I thought that would just be. I didn't, and it wasn't my job to take on the task of recreating his music or such like that. But that's something that I can do, and I like delivering imagery.
No, I would love that. That'd be great.
So yeah.
So there you go. So that's what that was. I've been sitting on that track for quite a while now. The only person that heard it was two guys in my band. I always talk about my band. It's my ex brand, The Express. We're still such great friends. And we were up in a hotel in Duluth, Minnesota, and I had that with me on my phone, and I played it for both the guys, and they thought it was really good. And out of all things, one of the chambermaids at the hotel came back later, and she goes, "I was listening to that one song you guys were playing out in the lobby. It was really good." So the chambermaid thumbs up. so 3 people. You know.
Yeah, that was that was so. It's just so good.
I'm glad we didn't listen to it before.
That was what I was just gonna say. That like I know you were kind of pushing me to have a pre-listen.
I was.
And I kind of didn't want to, and I am glad that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
I thought it came out great. I'm very pleased with it. I don't know what else I could have done with it. I mean, it just as it sits. Actually, I should probably say too that that's a bit of a shortened version. The original goes on for like 8 minutes, but it's just me kind of like guitar plunking away towards the end of it, and I didn't want this to be a big jam thing at the end, so I shortened it back a little bit. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
For me, it was perfect. That was what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was dubious, and you worried me a couple of times, saying like, "Oh, I hope it's good enough," but
Well, I had to repeat one of the verses because, to be honest, the original manuscript was not that long, and I really kind of hassled with, well, gee, do I write another verse or two myself? And I didn't want to do that, so I did have to repeat a verse just to pad it out a little bit. But that's okay. Still gets the message across, I think.
Yeah.
So.
No,
Yeah, so I now it's kind of like, where do I go from here? I did have one of my good friends say to me, maybe if somewhere down the road, if I come up with a song or a lyric that seems third bridgey, I should release it as that. And I can't do that. Third bridge is Craig and Scott. We tried that before, and I tried going on as third bridge, and that's not right.
Yeah.
So.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in your future you may just be sitting there thinking in the right mood, and as I've said before in interviews and I've said today, it's still about, and you channel him well. And I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if in the future you turn around to me with a track and go, look, I know everything that I've said, but like I was just in that headspace and this came to me. Can I release this as the third bridge?
Right.
And we may have that discussion, and it may come to the point where we turn around and go, no, actually, this isn't right. But
yeah.
I could see that happening, and I could see also potentially you might turn around and go, yeah, it is right for this to happen. You never know. You might stroll across. You might be reading through a book or something, and you'll come across something that he scrawled in the corner, and it might inspire you, and and that would be the right reason to carry on, I guess, or do one more or a little last hurrah. If it's just something that's a little bit third bridge styled, I'd agree with you and say that's for you to do what you want with it.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. So anyway, that's what that is. So
that's I think we're both a bit flabbergasted and deflated. Not deflated in a negative way, but like, wow, that was a peak of emotions, I think, on both sides of this screen.
I agree. Yeah. we still gotta fill 34 minutes.
I know. I mean, I guess, as much as this was a third bridge thing, and I wanted to look at the history, and we do have a couple more third bridge tracks that I want to play alongside. I think we'll have a quick last hurrah for all these people that have joined us throughout the show,
sure,
and stuff like that. But I think I was just blathering on about nothingness. I know what I wanted to say. That in some ways, there needs to be a better word than the finish, or that's the end, because it's not the end. Those songs are now there in existence forever, and they can be listened to forever by anyone. And I know, at least if I'm the only person that does it, I'm going to be listening to them for a good while. But like, from now, as you said, you're a bit like, so what do I do next? However, like what's on the cards other than Clickzilla, which we've mentioned? But where do you feel like in yourself now? You've kind of tied things up, and it's a bit of a closure point, I guess. So how do you feel now, and where do you feel like you want to go?
I feel like I'm still trying to hone my skills as a musician and a writer. I'm, keeping myself busy with projects. I've done some different stuff lately for different people, things like that. I guess I'm just trying to focus on where I go next. Obviously, I know we talked about Cluckzilla till we're blue in the face. That's kind of like the overarching theme for everything for this year. I am meeting with my friend Mark, who is Dirty Dan from Dirty Dan and the Mud Puppies, and we're going to be writing some new material for him. Um, yeah, I mean, I know it sounds kind of sad, but yeah, all my energy right now is getting the Cluxzilla thing off the ground. Like Kat was saying the other day, it was supposed to be one song. Well, now I'm writing a whole album about it, so I'm doing that.
I'm okay with
Um,
that.
yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna be all these different genres smashed into one big thing. So it's gonna be, you're not gonna know what's coming next. There's that, and I guess for me, it's more like what direction do I go? Because I always kind of tend to figure what mood I want to set. You know, am I thinking a ballad? Am I thinking a rock tune? Am I thinking a prog tune? I don't really know where I'm gonna go from here. I'm on a bit more of a rock kick right now, more of a heavy rock kick. I'm kind of doing that a bit more. But in terms of other songs coming up, I always have a set of lyrics. I have a whole book full of lyrics. It's just a matter if I decide to pick something out and kind of expand on it. So yeah, I guess the short answer is I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's how do you top that? Where do you go after that?
I don't want to play therapist or anything. I just want to put an idea in your head that you don't even have to explore. But musically,
yeah,
I would be quite interested to hear musically what Craig Allen Hecht as Craig Allen Hecht feels about the end of an era, I guess. I know that it's a hard one. I've just put something very hard in your ears, I know. But I would like to... the idea of the third bridge from an outward perspective for you, it would be interesting.
It never ends for me. It never will end for me. That's where I felt so strange after Scott had passed away. I was left with the task of still moving ahead. How do I take a guy who's left us physically and take his ideas and his feelings and move ahead on that? I don't feel a sense of closure so much because Scott is one of my dearest friends and always will be. He's here. I'm not saying that, well, Third Bridge is done now, so I'm not going to think about you anymore. Obviously, I do every day. But musically, there are times I could be doing something that's so far away from Third Bridge, and I'll think to myself, what would Scott do? What would he tell me? If he was standing, I always mention the Scott spot. If he was right there, he'd tell me, well, hey man, try this or try that, and he taught me so much, that I use to this day in terms of song construction and writing, and he really helped my lyrics. I mean, he was the main lyricist of the Third Bridge, but boy, I like to think that my lyric game stepped up after working with him. But yeah, I guess in the short answer, I don't feel like anything is closed. Third Bridge is still going to be where it is. You can find it on Reverb Nation. You're not a big Reverb Nation fan, but that's where all of our stuff is. Anybody, it's there to stream anytime you want. It's on XRP. It's there.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
my face plant was we
I
had the
know, but
No, it was nothing to do with that. I was listening to you and dealing with. So the Bogman has mentioned Funk You about 100 times this evening.
God, play it. Play it already.
This is the problem. I just queued it up and I was about to turn around to you and gone. We've had a good chat now, but let's break it up with some music. The Bogman really wants Funk You. That's all he's mentioned all goddamn night. The bastard just went, I'm just going to bed now, and has left. As I've queued it up.
After all that. And the part that's really funny about Funk You, that's one of those songs where I put the Third Bridge on it. That's not a Third Bridge song. I wrote it and I played it. But I figured I was still transitioning. Who am I now? So it's credited to Third Bridge, but it's not in reality, which is funny. But yeah. Weird. Now what are we gonna do?
I think I'm still going to go ahead and play Funk You as a little break for us to
for it.
regain our tracks. I think we well, we did, didn't we? Here we go. This is Funk You. Bogman, if you're listening, this is for you.
We're putting him to bed.
I think we'll start visiting some of you lovely people that have chatted to us in the chat box as well this evening. I hear that Nightwolf has bought a new track that I know you like a bit of Nightwolf on occasion.
Yes.
A dirty track.
So it's a dirty.
Oh,
track.
the dirty track.
Well, we'll see. So maybe I'll have a look at that in a little bit as well. Here we go. Thank you, Craig Allen Hecht / the Third British / Craig Allen Hecht. It depends.
Yeah, slash everybody. Oh man.
No.
Like, not like in a negative way either. All of the other rounds are so different and such a different.
Get on the good foot. There ain't no right or
You know, Kat, I can't hear the thing you just said, dude. The music's kind of loud.
I bet you thought
Which mic?
Oh, that's much better. But she's telling me something really meaningful, and I didn't hear any of it.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I was saying you made a comment about like how do I top this now?
I don't need to.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like don't think of it as topping because your other outfits are such a different thing.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't be comparing them because they will never be close enough to be better or worse. Or I think that they should never be kind of.
I think a hard thing as well, and the look of our relationship together, your relationship with XRP, the show, whatever, is like, I mean, for me, how do I put it? If you've said, this is the final song from the Third Bridge to me, you have delivered exactly. I can't even explain it. It's exactly what I wanted in all ways, shapes, and forms. You could hear everything. You channeled not just the instrument, but the instrument playing. Like everything for me is perfect. But that's also something that is unique to me because only I have that emotional attachment to the track. So I mean, as things go, I don't think I. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I could have given you a better reaction to that track.
No, God, it was wonderful. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, the fact that you appreciated it on a technical level too. But it was the one thing. I will say this. I know this is going to go on YouTube, but I have to ask you: volume-wise, did it seem low? I had to crank everything up on my end when you played it back. Should I boost it a little bit?
No. This is my. You know, I was mentioning I have 3 interfaces.
Right.
So the radio coverage is all through compressors and stuff, and it will lift everything up and stuff. Yep. To you, I'm trying to manage. So like you just said, the music's too loud to.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I'm funk you. Yeah.
I'm trying to ride that gain because I have no compressor that goes to you.
Okay. All right. Kat, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. Good.
I'm just a very emotional person.
She's more emotional than I
am. I am too.
I think her seeing me cry made her cry. Yeah, so
I cry at commercials. God, well, I'm an artist. I'm an artist, right? I'm one of those. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You know, I cry at anything. You know.
I think she knows. So, because my epilepsy is a heightened emotion based. So if my emotions go through the roof, I'm more likely to have a fit. So she don't see me like that often.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm quite bland.
And
normally.
You got up to walk away earlier, and I was just like.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
I'll be honest. I'm so happy, and I'm so proud because I think it hit you right where I wanted to. Not that I was trying to hit you with anything, but I think it really accomplished it.
We finished the song. That was Thank You from
Craig
Allen.
Meanwhile, hi guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, feel free. I noticed few people are watching the YouTube, few people are watching the listening to the stream, and feel free to do both. You're on an emotional roller coaster on the video stream if you're listening.
We're done crying though.
I think we're okay now. We're okay.
We're cool. Yep, we're good.
They are.
We're good.
Yep. We've been on quite the roller coaster. I did mention playing a few other people's new tracks. If you're up for switching track a little bit, and
love to. Awesome.
In which case, Nightwolf is in the chat box, and as much of a pain as he can be.
He did email me back finally.
It's sweet. The worrying thing is Nightwolf is also apparently coming to our wedding.
Yeah. And staying with us
Which
in
is
the
awesome.
hotel.
Craig,
Not with us.
Craig hasn't realised this, but I am currently working on a way to get him at the wedding in virtual form.
Hologram form?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But Craig doesn't know this yet.
Oh,
But if you know that episode of Bob's Burgers where Tina's has to go to school from home.
Yes,
You
the
know,
robot
with
that
the
moves
robot.
around.
I have plans.
We're building a fucking Craig robot.
We may be,
okay.
yeah.
I'm up for anything, man.
You don't have to be available for the whole day, and I know it's very early in the morning, but
Oh yeah, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning.
don't you worry. You'll be
No,
there for a little bit of it.
I just want to make the dinner. As long as I'm there for the food, I'm good. Yeah.
Because I've seen it. It's a little remote control car that you can control over the internet with wheels with an iPad on it.
We'll have to but then we'll have to send him, we'll have to find some place that will send him a steak at 7 o'clock in the morning.
No, that's fine. We'll work it out.
Okay.
We'll work it out. Okay.
Oh.
We're going to move tracks now here and kind of speed up the last bit of a show to keep you listeners entertained. You have been absolutely lovely, and there has been a few times in this interview where you have literally had a couple of old mates having a little chat to each other, which I love and I know isn't the best radio in the world, but you have been great listeners today. We've had a great bunch of people. We've had more messages on the StreamYard than we've had in a good while for a start. Great group of people watching on Twitch as well, so thank you to everyone and for legitimately seeming to enjoy this show as much as we have digressed to the max. However, this track, and it keeps starting to play and it's not meaning to play.
Uh-oh.
This next track, we're going to play it properly now. It's Dirty Tail from Nightwolf. Here we go.
All right.
I didn't realise I pressed play on it. Can you hear that all right, Craig?
Yeah.
That was 100%.
Ooh.
Wow.
When he makes streams like this, I just want to rap over them.
It's funny you say that. I want to play guitar over it.
Rhythmically, Nightwolf smashes it every time.
Oh, yeah.
His rhythms are sublime.
Yep. Agreed. Oh, man, that percussion is just killer.
Those little reverses that he's got on the percussion
Yeah. Yeah, that. Zoop.
sucks it back in.
Yep.
Really gives really different dimensions to the beat. This is right up my street. Anyway. this is music I grew up with. For other people, no. I can barely write it for myself. You're listening to XRP Radio. Bloody hell. I tell you what, right. We've had some long-term art. Nightwolf is another long-term artist releasing another tune. You lot are blowing me away today. Craig smashed me in the face with emotion and pure sublime production on a really well-channeled piece of music, and then Nightwolf comes with a track that, I mean, I'm a drum and bass head. I don't create any. It's not a secret. I love it. And you come with the if you listen to the video, me and Craig were constantly impressed with the percussion elements.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's blown me away today. I can't cope. I'm finding it very difficult to cope with everyone today. You know the mad thing, and I know this is an interview about the third bridge and the Craig, and I don't need to speak about everything else about myself, right? But like, Craig would have been at our wedding if it wasn't absolutely ridiculous to be. Nightwolf is coming to our wedding. Craig has wrote music for our wedding. Miss Happenings is coming to the why do we like? Everyone's lovely. It's by what I'm getting to here.
It's because they're, you know, they always say friends are the family you pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say.
I like that.
No, you don't say that.
I say that.
I've never heard you say that.
Of course, Tim doesn't say that, but yeah.
Everyone says it but me.
I've never heard you say it.
I never heard him say it either, and I've known him a couple of weeks now. There you go. So, there.
Fine. I give up.
Yep.
Right. What? Let's have a look. How do you feel about listening to whatever, I don't know what it is yet, the latest tune to be submitted to XRP is?
Oh, I think that'd be fun.
I almost messed up because it was almost that track from Nightwolf again, but someone else has submitted since then. Literally 3 minutes before this show started, we had a brand new track from a group that we've heard of before, actually. I don't know if you all remember them. They're called Rebellious Jukebox. They have submitted a good few tracks. If I can spell.
2 L's. Oh.
No, I know I've got music from Rebellious Jukebox. Has it really been that long that they're in the old database? And that would be another weird thing. Yeah, I have got music from them.
Huh.
And it was from... Oh, that's from... Huh.
Oh, maybe deleted it from them?
No, I'm sure. It might be a bit old. I think these are a band that submitted back... Remember right at the start of this show that we were mentioning that kind of period just before this new database?
Right, yeah.
I think, weirdly, these are from that era and they've only just submitted. Again,
Boy, that's been a while.
this show is really quite spooky at points. Because I wasn't expecting this to happen.
Yeah.
So the track's called Crazy Days of Summer.
They became a band in 2010, January 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How
about right then.
spooky is that? After a saying about bands that, you know, from that long ago, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a band that submitted that long ago.
They haven't done anything since 2013.
And they haven't done anything since. What?
Yeah.
That is spooky as hell.
And here they are.
These Crazy Days of Summer, Rebellious Jukebox.
Cool.
That is so odd.
Yeah.
Someone's playing a bar up there. Tell you.
Oh, wow.
If I was to say Damien Albarn, would you know where I was going?
Not part of my
He's
deal.
man behind Blur, the Gorillas.
Oh, Blur, I know, yeah.
The Gorillas as well. He's the main man. This gives me his influence. Like actually, if you were to kind of mix Blur and the Gorillas in one band,
You get this, yeah.
I think I don't want to push out our luck with these wonderful, just weird events that have happened through the show. I think if we tie it up at the top of the hour. But I think this has been the most wondrous of shows.
No, that's been great.
I've enjoyed myself right now. And as long as one goes. That was interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry, carry on.
I like the strings. They're really cool.
Yeah, they're definitely how do I put it? Filled out some of the because it's a very spacey song.
Yeah, for sure. That was neat. Very, very atmospheric, as you would say. Yeah. Cool.
I like the fact that my words pass on to other people.
You're a trendsetter.
It means that when I describe a song, people know what I'm going on about anyway.
Well, that's what a good DJ does. Oh, come on now.
A good DJ.
Oh, hang on now. Now you're going to push a wrong button and shut everything off or something.
Oh, guaranteed. Have you noticed, though? Have you noticed? Can we just put this out there?
Yes.
We haven't crashed in a long time.
Yeah.
Actually, you've hung up on me quite a few times here and there, your stream video.
Oh, the video glitched.
Yeah.
I blame
Yeah.
you.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, no, but the like mix actually crashing.
Yeah, the show has not stopped. is
Oh
what I'm
no,
trying to
that
say.
hasn't happened. No.
Yeah.
That used to be fun because it would crash and like go to some cool jazz thing or something. I was like, oh, I like this. Then I go back to the regular show and
One thing that I will notice about this interview is I have never known someone have so many alarms go off.
That's just like his ringtone for a text message. He's one of those people that keeps the volume on their phone.
oh, this is interesting, Tiz. I just got a text here from my wife,
Okay.
and she says, I missed the first 20 minutes, but I didn't hear you say how you actually started with Scott in the 80s. I don't think I did.
Well, fucking fix that.
Did I?
I think we should do that, and then we'll
We
play
talked
one
about
of the...
recording, but we didn't talk about how I met him.
I don't think you did. I mean, the problem is with this is a story that I know quite well.
Yeah,
so,
but
whether you said it today or not,
I
I'm
didn't
not
hear
too
it, and
sure.
I don't know it.
well,
Let's go for it. Let's know how did.
I gotta thank it. Yes,
Let's make this professional.
I love Connie.
Craig,
I know. Yeah, yes, Tiz.
how did the third bridge get together?
Well, it goes like this. My lovely wife, Connie, used to work with Scott's lovely wife, Leah, in the same place. And, well, now she just mentioned Private Universe. I did touch on that. Anyway, they used to work in the same office. And I think what happened was, I think one of them said, well, my husband likes music as well. Maybe if the two of them met, they would get along. You know, and guys being guys, we're kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever, because we didn't know each other from Adam, you know, and we finally did meet. They did have us together, and it turns out we both like the same weird stuff, you know, the same, you know, really kind of weird music and a lot of really, you know, strange bands. Oh, that, okay, she's telling me right now, guys, this is great. Scott complained to his wife that he had to come over to meet me. He's like, I don't want to meet this guy. I don't know who this guy is, you know. So she dragged him over by the feet. Now, this is back in the early 80s, right? So it's a long time back, you know. So the short version is we got together. Turns out we like the same goofy stuff, had the same weird sense of humor. I mean, we spent more time falling around the studio laughing hysterically when we wrote music than we did actually writing anything, you know. But that's how it started. The two wives worked together, and they kind of dragged us together, and we kind of have to thank them for that. So
And
thank you, Connie. Thank you, Leah.
Connie was probably thinking like, oh, now I've got a babysitter for Craig while me and my girlfriend can go out. So we can just put the boys together, they can watch each other, and we can go out.
Well, yeah, back when we first got married, we had this little apartment, and way in the back was this little bedroom. I turned it into a studio, and that back then it was Starstruck Studios back in the day. I have a little dinky. And that's where we started out. That's where we recorded Downtrodden and all that stuff. It was a little dinky room, all painted purple. You know, purple. Had $120 cheap bass, and it was hilarious though. But yeah, that's where it started. So there you go. So I corrected. But she did say she did mention Private Universe, but I did talk about we were Private Universe first. So
we did.
And there was actually a cover band called the Twist Tones that Scott played bass in after we first met. And then after a while, he started being our sound guy instead. And then we had a band called 3X that played live, and Scott was a bass player in that as well. So there were some cover bands that Scott and I played together. We didn't play to many people, you know, but there was that whole thing too. So that's kind of, Third Bridge kind of evolved out of all that cover band thing again, like what I did with the Express. You know, it always started out with covers, and then, hey, we could probably write some original music, you know, so that's where that kind of went from. So, yeah, so that's kind of, I think I caught that up pretty well.
I asked you, like, because you mentioned, like, we didn't play to many people. Is that because the cover bands that you're in with Scott were derived from your weird musical tastes?
Actually, the Twist Tones, the idea was we took old 60s music and kind of redid like the Ramones. So we're doing like old, like, you know, like
Chubby Checker.
No, more like a Red Rubber Ball or 98.6 or House of the Rising Sun or stuff like that. We're doing it really heavy. I got a Marshall and everything, big amps and everything. It was pretty weird, but yeah.
I'm looking at the time.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
And thinking how good an evening it's been for me anyway. Sorry, listeners, if we derailed a couple of times, but personally for me, I enjoyed it all anyway. So if you're that emotional kind of person and you're not so hot on the music, just enjoy looking at my face throughout the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, and also realize that, you know, we do a lot of interviews with people that are musicians. And great musicians, and Craig is a musician and a great one, but Craig is more than that. I mean, Craig is definitely our family and one of our closest friends. So
Well, you know, I know you probably have something to say here at the end, but you knew I was going to say this, Tiz. Thank you for everything. I mean, no, man, come on. I mean, past Third Bridge. I mean, look what this whole thing has evolved into. You know, Icebox Studios, all the different bands. You know, I've written theme songs for shows on XRP. I've tried to really, you know, help you guys out with stuff like that. You know, it's been a pleasure to do all that stuff. So just to be part of the family, you know, anything I can do to contribute, you know, I mean, it's just been a wonderful ride, and I hope it continues for years. And just thank you all. Just thank you all so much. So that's my end of being mushy. You guys finish the show off however you wish.
Keeping the theme of being mushy, and also keeping the theme of the whole show, which is surrounded about this release of this fantastic new track from the Third Bridge. Right now I can't cope with playing that specific track again.
Oh, spin it again!
I was thinking one of the most popular and most requested tracks from the Third Bridge that we had, and also possibly an appropriate way to finish this was also the next track that was on the list as the list that we made, which is Love Wave.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good idea.
Just what better way to finish the show tonight?
Yep, great song.
So on that note, looking at the time, we have to round up. So I have to do the usual thing. XRP listeners, it's been a pleasure to entertain you all for the evening. I will be back on. We're trying to do the morning shows every day this week. It's a new thing for us, and it's a bit early.
I know, right?
We're trying to get used to it, so we're not advertising it heavily. But if you're awake about that time, tune in, and we might be there.
It's prime Craig watching playback.
It's 7 a.m. for me.
No, we've changed it.
Oh, what is it now?
2 a.m. for you.
Oh, perfect. I know Connie will be up. She'll watch it. She'll listen to it.
So we're trying to do that. If not any of those times in the week, I'll be back on Saturday with the Tag Show and Bespoke Live. Other than that, I have to let these pairs speak first. So I guess from ALC, it's
bye.
She's so specific.
You can't leave me hanging.
And from Craig, if you have any last words to the world,
I
say
really
them
don't.
and I'll press play.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the stream. This has just been a real treat, and always so good to chat with Tiz. It's like talking to an old friend, you know. It's so comfortable.
It's not like talking to a friend. It is talking to an old friend.
It is talking to an old friend, you know. And thank you again so much. If you've listened to Third Bridge or anything I'm doing, man, I can't thank you enough. Appreciation, just super heartfelt, you know. And chat box people, I'll see you on the next show. So thanks so much.
This is Love Wave by the Third Bridge. Lovely. Just everyone's enjoyed the show, and it's just been so good.
This has been really cool.
It's been so good.
It's so funny. I was saying to Connie before it started, now I'm nervous. I mean, I was making some spam for lunch, actually. And I go, you know, back when I used to play in a band, you get this feeling in your stomach right before you go on stage like you're sick. I had that butterfly thing going. I'm like, I just hope I don't screw this up.
I was the same, because, like, yeah, it's important to me. And, you know, as I've tried to be honest with the world, you know, I'm having my struggles at the moment. I'm a bit more tired than I should be.
Yep.
You know, and I know the effort that I would
normally have put into certain things. I just don't have the ability to do at the moment. So I
Right.
was somewhat in the same way of I'm like, I'm a moderately tired today, and
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's
I was in the same thing. I was worried that I was, and I know I tripped over my words a few times, but that was more. I was happy that it was more out of the emotional state rather than the tired, overworked state and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's there's some pressure. I mean, you got it. I know you got to tell the story of the third bridge, and I want to make sure I got it out right. And I really didn't leave much out. And then is that track going to be okay? It's like I'm happy with it.
Is so good.
Like,
It's
I launched
so
it,
good.
man.
It's so good.
And I said, man, there's a lot of when you listen to it. Next time, there's so much subtle stuff, but even electric stuff kind of fades into the acoustic. It's cool. I got lucky on that.
Like I said to you, like I'm not being funny. Like I am going to listen to that a good few more times. But that was not just of your music, but it's the first track in a long way. And maybe it was just because I was more attentive to it because of the attachment to it.
Yeah.
But I heard, like, I truly feel like as right now, I heard all of that track all in one go, and that is an experience that I have not had in a long, not since Arcology brought out You're Not Evident. That was the only other track that I've heard that I listened to the mix and I was like, that is how it should be.
That makes me feel so good because that sometimes I feel, well, you probably wouldn't know. Sometimes I feel a little bit of pressure because studio stuff, mastering and stuff. I don't, I'm doing the best I can. So I hope this is okay enough, or this song is good enough. I think I'm getting better. Like my buddy Chuck, the sound guy that I've known for years, he says, your production skills have just been taking me a while. I think every track sounds better.
Yeah.
So hopefully I keep that up. So I'm still learning.
That track was how I want. I mean, I'm hyper-critical on production.
Yeah, I know.
And part of me was a little, from that side of me, because I know what I'm like, was a little bit, because the last thing I wanted to deliver something so emotional, and then me go, you need to change the hi-hats, you need to change this, you need to change that.
Yeah, right.
So part of me was not just surprised, but honestly relieved that
I feel the exact same way.
It was just sublime.
Cool.
Now, off chance, maybe I was heightened emotions. Maybe I'm gonna go listen to it later, and you might get a message later going. Okay, turn the bass up a bit, but
no, I won't.
I don't think you will. Right, that's us done over there.
Yep.
For all those watching us, that is the end of the show.
Yeah.
We ended up chatting a little bit. And we probably will chat for a few more minutes now. If you go over to XRP Radio at the moment, you'll be listening to a repeat of 11 Tronics, would you believe, with Daz G and Jolie, just because, why not? It's been a while since we've heard off them. And again, I am back for definite on Saturday with the Tag Show. However, every weekday from 8 till 9 p.m. UK time in the morning, we are going to attempt and slowly progress to doing a daily roundup at that time in the morning. But until then, for those watching on the stream, here's some waving hands. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
I remember to set alarm.